And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to the ASL round of 24. We've got Killer, Light, Tyson, and Bisu today. It is going to be a hell of a day for StarCraft, guys. Light, one of the best Terran players in the world. Bisu, a personal favorite from times immemorial. These two players should make it through, but Tyson and Killer might have something to say about it. We've had a lot of upsets this season so far, and Light had a bit of a hard time getting through this season in particular. He didn't make it through in the first qualifier. He made it through in day 2 over Saxery, but he lost 0-2 against Sock. Here he is on screen. Just barely squeaking through in game or in day number 2. So it's not a sure thing that he can make it through. This guy is so powerful in long series, in best of 7s and best of 5s, but in the best of 1 format, it could be a close shave. What do you think about Light making it his way through? What are your predictions today, Xun?
Well, my original predictions were probably like Light and Bisu are going to be these two guys probably
Same.
going through. I mean, but my heart is also telling me, hang on a minute, don't be too hasty. Don't be too hasty. I mean, Tyson knocked out JYJ in the qualifiers, and anything can happen. And Killer's got a very strong Zerg versus Protoss. Maybe, just maybe, he can take out Bisu as well. Anything can happen in the ASL. We've already seen in the previous group stages. We just don't know for sure how these games are going to go. Obviously, I'm sure most of you guys at home are pretty much predicting that Light and Bisu will be the two to make it out of this group, but anything can happen still.
Absolutely. Tyson is an up-and-coming Protoss player who it might surprise you that he took out JYJ in the qualifiers, but he has been playing extremely well. If you've been watching the KCM and other tournaments, he's been on the come-up, and he might stand a pretty good chance of giving us an upset versus Light. Be able to pull something out. I would be super surprised if both Light and Bisu didn't make it through, but one of these players could be eliminated. All it is just a best of 1 once again, so it is absolutely possible. By the way, Tyson took out Noob on the way through the qualifiers as well, so his PvP is on point too.
Nice. Yeah, Noob's pretty good. All these guys are really seriously good. Killer, I'm curious to see how he's going to be performed today. I mean, once upon a time, this guy was regarded as Jaedong's protege. He was up and coming quite a long time, on Hwaseng Oz alongside him, and then later on Teammate as well, referred to as Little Jaedong. Really curious to see what kind of games we're going to see out of him today. I don't want to just count some of these other two guys out, like Killer and Tyson. They can definitely play. I mean, Tyson for a long time was pretty much an underdog in the StarCraft scene, probably a sub 50% win rate across the board for a long, long time. This is how it goes in the pro circuit. Until you're a really strong player, the pros are just going to absolutely dominate you until you can rise like a phoenix from the ashes after weathering so many pounding blows. Finally, to be sharpened into a blade capable enough of cutting back against these guys, you don't really have an easy time of it. But finally, it seems like Tyson has found his punching power in this most modern era.
Well, Killer, he didn't have a easy time making it through the qualifiers, as you would expect. He lost to Sue, actually, the StarCraft 2 player on day 1, 0-2. He had to play a bunch of Zerg players in order to get through here. He beat Gameo finally on day 2 to get through. So we haven't really seen much of his versus Protoss and versus Terran, but that's all he has here is those 2 races to prepare for. Just a bunch of Terrans and a bunch of Protosses. In that way, he does have a little bit of an advantage. He doesn't have to prepare all 3 different matchups like the rest of these players do.
Yeah, it's really hard to practice that many matchups in these settings. And Flash, when he played random, had to practice 9 matchups and have all kinds of craziness calculated in his brain. I can't even imagine the mental tax that would have been. So yeah, when you've got just 2 races to worry about in your group, it just simplifies the process. Although Killer probably does also want to be able to exploit his Zerg versus Zerg skills at some point during this tournament. He's a very strong Zerg versus Zerg player.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that he got taken out by Sue. Sue, I don't think he's quite at the level of
Right.
A lot of these other players. I doubt he'll get into the ASL even next season. He needs more practice, but really this tournament has started to be dominated by a lot of StarCraft 2 players, right? We've got Sulky, who's been winning over and over again. Rain, who's been in the top 4 a lot. These are 2 StarCraft 2 champions who have come back into the game and have really taken over. And maybe Sue will be one of those names that we see more and more in the future.
Yeah, he's not really been performing so hot lately, but yeah, anything can change. We've even had the likes of like BTS, which is true from StarCraft 2, having a pretty good performance in his group stages. Who knows? In the coming phases of these ASL events, we might be seeing more and more of these guys showing up and showing that they can hang.
Absolutely, guys. I have the pleasure today of announcing that we will be utilizing game sounds here today. We've got access now to the clean stream, so for the first 3 days, we weren't able to bring you guys game sounds. Finally, that's been corrected. I saw a lot of your comments, and it has been a major issue. It's a bit annoying for me as well, but I assure you guys, we've been working on it, and we are going to have those in-game sounds. We just can't show this part. We can't play the music during this part because it will get us demonetized on YouTube for the StarCastTV cast. So just bear with us for now. It's just our voices here until the game starts, and then we'll bring in the game sounds, and you guys can let me know if I make a mistake in that, if I forget to turn on the game sounds. I'm gonna do my absolute best though to bring in the game sounds and mute the music, so bear with me here, guys. We're trying to make this as professional and well put together as possible.
Yeah, but feel free to scream at us in the chat if there is no game sounds. For me, I will be hearing them regardless, so I won't be able to cue saying in on if they're on or not. So you guys got to be in the chat and be a little bit local hero and give him a heads up if that is going to be occurring. I'm super excited today. All players look pretty confident and calm. Killer on the far right there, I mean, he looks a little bit disinterested as well. I'm not sure if he's just trying to control his nerves or if all these guys are super calm and calculated about their group today. None of them are really showing any jitters or nerves.
I gotta imagine that Tyson's feeling a little bit of something, a little something, something. It's his first time on stage here at the ASL, and you know, he's been performing better and better. He's finally made his way to the stage. That's a huge accomplishment just in itself, getting through to this round of 24. But the prospect of making his way into the round of 16, that has got to be a super exciting prospect indeed. Like, there are no more Royal Roaders in Brood War. It just doesn't exist. It never happens. I think the highest this guy can kind of look forward to, the best performance that he could look forward to is making it through to the round of 16. It doesn't happen. Remember Xun back in the day? Players used to get through with a Royal Road. They would go from if you guys don't know what a Royal Road is, you first time in the tournament make your way all the way to the finals and win. That will never happen again. I just don't see it ever happening in StarCraft 1 for the rest of the time. It's impossible.
I'm in agreement with you saying I just don't think that's going to be occurring, at least not in our lifetimes. If this game somehow does go on for another 100 years or so, maybe somewhere, somehow they can figure it out. Maybe he's got some kind of Neuralink implant. He just knows how to play the game. I don't know. But as we stand, there's no way anyone's going to come into this scene for the first time ever and just smash everyone. It's not going to happen. The modern scene is just too well thought out and mapped. All the decision trees are starting to be even more honed in and figured out by these guys. It's going to be exceptionally hard for you to take the scene by surprise. They're going to hear about you, play against you on a ladder, eventually figure out your style, and you're probably going to struggle just to maintain a 50% win record against these guys.
Somebody in chat saying that Tyson was in ASL before. Was he? If he was, I don't remember it. But
maybe he was. I'm not too sure about
that. He was also a boxing champion. Yes, that's correct. Heavyweight boxer. Tyson here on the stage. He's not afraid of these guys. They just punch him in the face if he loses.
I'm not so sure he was, guys. I know I think he was apparently he's in the qualifiers during season 4 and he got eliminated. So unless I'm just not seeing it here on the wiki, I'm not so sure he was in the ASL, guys.
Maybe he was under a different name. That's also a
Maybe.
possibility, right? there's these pro gamers keep changing their names so much. It's so hard to follow. He does not look familiar at all, though. I don't think I've seen him on there. Everyone's saying ASL Season 13. Can you confirm, Xun?
It might be listed as something else. It might be listed as SSL or something, because I'm looking for it and I'm not seeing it.
Will he bite?
Now I see. I think I do see it. I think he got knocked out in the Group 02.
Will
Okay,
he
yeah, I'm
bite
seeing
his
it.
opponent's ear off if he loses? No, that's how he wins.
Yeah.
He just bites their ear off for fun, actually.
Yeah, we do make a lot of Mike Tyson references to this guy when we cast his games in the KCM, and sometimes he does play like him in his current era. Like, he has been punching above his weight more and more recently.
Here we go, guys. Group D. Ooh. I imagine we're going to see these guys get squashed. I imagine we're going to see Light and Bisu go through unhindered. Bisu did have a very easy group in round one, in day one. He beat Pianist in order to make his way through, but overall he had a pretty easy slide through, and he has not been playing KCM lately. I'm really curious to see what his level is right now.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where all these guys stack up, because I mean, you never quite know for sure. Like, we tried to calculate some of these other groups, and we had some crazy games, some crazy upsets, and even in the qualifiers, there's all kinds of shenanigans happen, like the likes of Hero getting knocked out by an A-rank Terran. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen in ASL. It's a really special event, a special tournament, and I hope that we're going to be able to bring you guys these games for many years to come, and StarCraft just never goes away and just becomes this retro RTS for times old.
Yeah, it's a great honor to be here, guys. We're taking a look at the groups now. Group E and Group F are also just so scary. Queen, SK, Jaedong, Stork. That's going to be a nasty group. I think Stork gets knocked out of that group. I think SK goes down and we get Queen and Jaedong. We really need some more Zerg players here, guys, because I don't think Killer's making it through tonight. We haven't had a single other Zerg make it through in the round of 24. So we're really light on Z right now. So hopefully one of them will make it through.
Yeah. I imagine we're going to be maybe even doubling up on one of these groups. We even might have Action and Hero breaking through in Group F. So the race distribution will be a lot more balanced after Group E's and F's are finalized. I imagine we'll probably be seeing at least two to three of those guys making it through in total. Yeah, I would like to see someone like Stork actually perform this event and, you know, show some great carrier control and like go back to his old roots a little bit and maybe take some of the scene by storm, at least through to the round of 16. But I'm not so sure about that. I'm sure he could take out Ski in that group, but Jaedong and Queen will be a much more taller order for him.
And then that Group F, Hero. You got to imagine he's the favorite for that group.
Yeah.
But we're going to be getting into this one here in just a moment, guys. Get excited. Let your friends know that we've got the live stream up with the live English cast and the clean stream. Go ahead and post it in your Discord groups and on Reddit or wherever you guys are sharing games with your friends. Let everybody know that this is happening because it's just really a special thing to have the live stream as well. I know that a lot of you guys are going to be watching the ASL cast, and their cast is very good. I've watched their cast for many, many years, and it's awesome that they also have the translations available as well. But this is something special, guys. We're going to bring this to you as soon as it's available live from Soup with the clean stream. This is going to be a blast, Xun. Cannot wait.
Super excited.
Super excited. We're going to get this started here soon. We got some stats up on the screen, though, for now. Guys are getting into their booths and getting set up, measuring their keyboards, making sure they're not too far away from the edges of their desk and that their height of their mouse is perfectly aligned with the sides of their chairs, the arms of their chairs. Here's Light on screen at the 59% win rate over Protoss. Man, that is impressive.
Yeah, it is a hard matchup to be that strong in as well. really strong to boast such a thing. But guys, they're not aligning themselves to their desk. They're aligning the universe to them. They need everything perfect so they can just lock in and tap into the flow state that's required to play this great game. And their star sense can just flood through, and they can analyze on the fly and navigate this perfectly. But look at Tyson, such a bare bones record, really struggling in the ASL event, only putting a few points on the board. Can he put some more on? He's had an okay record against Terran. It looks like 1 win and a loss, so not too bad there. Can he make that 2 wins though? Against someone like Light, it's going to be a tall order. The first map is going to be Eclipse though, so anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. After taking out JYJ, he's going to be swelling with confidence. That was in the qualifiers. He knocked him out of the tournament completely. Light here is a larger-than-life player, though. They're going to be weighing on his mind. Yes, we are going to have in-game sounds today, guys. I'm going to start those up as soon as the music stops. And we're going to go onto mute again once the game is over. So here we go. The first game of Group D. Light versus Tyson. Let's get it started. All right, guys, let me know if the in-game sounds are running, if they're too loud or too soft. We can adjust. Here they are on stage now, ready to begin this battle. Let's go. Light in the bottom left, Tyson in the top right. I mean, I wouldn't give Tyson a huge chance of beating Light if it was any other map, but I think this map actually gives him a much better shot.
Yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, this map is more balanced than most people think, but it does play out a little bit strangely if you can't get out of your natural expansion. It's a long way to this third gas for Light here. Tyson might be able to abuse that and do some kind of 3-base timing bulldog where he just dives onto him with shuttles and Dragoons just trying to pounce on his attempt at expanding. Can be a little bit tough for Terrans to break out on this map, and with the way the lanes are set up, it's very difficult to react to a poor decision. If you go down the wrong lane and suddenly you're being counterattacked, it takes a long time to pull back and bring your whole army to bear to deal with that. So Light may find a little bit of trouble navigating in the future. We see him setting up this potential wall in here. He's going to make the barracks to the right of his command center to give him a little bit of a great wall to micro.
Light's just leaning back in his chair, as he usually does. A little lean to the left there. I think I actually play the best when I sit the way that Light is sitting. You know, more calm, more relaxed. When I'm sitting the way that Tyson's sitting, my head tilted forward and I'm, you know, intent on the screen, I usually play a little bit worse. But that might be a reaction because there is a camera right in his face, right? He's trying to keep his attention on the screen and just kind of block out whatever else is going on around him.
Whereas Light is so cool as a cucumber. He's done it so many times that he doesn't even need to worry about the camera. It's just background noise for him. The whole world is becoming a background music track for him as he just dials in on what he needs to do. Tries to get some harassment on this SEV and gas, and after getting a gas steal, just 2 hits left on that. We'll be having to keep that running away for some time to protect it from that probe, and a very quick Nexus first coming down from Tyson.
Yeah, this Nexus first plus gas deal combination is quite strong, especially on a map like this. You're going to force your opponent into doing a gasless fast expand, and that takes away a lot of options for punishing this Nexus first. So he could get away with just a single gateway afterwards. He could go into a forge if there's any sort of pressure coming. It looks like he's going to get away with this gateway first, and Light is just going to play out a normal game. That's what it appears to be right now, at least.
Yeah, the main question will be, how will Tyson navigate this early game? Will he make an early second gateway? Will he cut probes to go to Zealot 2 Goon? Light can't really punish him either way. You can make a second barracks out on the map and try and put some early pressure on, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be occurring.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like it to me either. Looks like it'll be 1 Zealot into a Dragoon. The probe coming forward to make sure that this SCV can't set up a bunker easily, but he's going to start that. He gets a few extra hits on that SCV. That's in range of the pylon at least, but There's not really that many probes down here just yet. Gonna pull the probes down now. First zealot is out. That bunker, it looks like it's about to finish. Can he get the SCV? He will get it. He gets the SCV before the bunker finishes. Oh my god.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before where it's actually technically complete, but like 0.01 seconds until it's actually final. Like, that's crazy. That actually finished with 350 health like that and didn't actually complete. Bunkers build exceptionally quick as well, so that's a really wild interaction to have early on here.
Ooh, bad luck. Bad luck for Light to start this one out. He starts a second barracks and an academy.
He's doing it.
Oh,
he's doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. He's going bio saying this is crazy.
Oh, this is insane. Robotics facility on the way. If he just goes into an observer, that would be the best possible scenario for Light. If he does make a Reaver right away, then this could get shut down instantly. And I think I've seen a lot of Protoss players going Reaver first. So
yeah,
Light betting his tournament, or not his tournament life, but at least this first game, which is very serious. If you lose this first game, oh my gosh, going into the losers match, it's a really dangerous situation. You put yourself one game away from getting kicked out of the tournament, and he's going to put so much of his tournament life on the line for a bio play. Is that the right decision against a player the caliber of Tyson? Don't you think he could possibly play from a bit of a deficit and still take a good win? Oh my gosh, there it is. Observatory on the way. This is the best case scenario for Light now. He might actually be able to get away with this.
It's been so common for Protoss players to get this robo off just one gateway and then, you know, get a fast observer out, see what's what, and then get that Reaver out. But that Reaver will be very slow in stopping this. I mean, he's already moving out with so many Marines. SCV already pulling ahead into the natural expansion area, scouting what's what. Sees just 2 Zealots and a Dragoon. He's probably feeling pretty good about this now. He has some SCVs as well to come with this to build bunkers and eventually maybe turrets as well if needed. This is going to get crazy so quick, Saiyan.
Yeah, I don't think he's spotted this yet. The faster you can spot this, the better. You should be throwing down shield batteries, a third gateway. Just getting anything out here to stop this is going to be insanely helpful, but he just hasn't had that early warning time, and now he's only got 2 Dragons and 2 Zealots. The bunker is already started. This is a fantastic position for Light, but can the probes around actually get on top of these and start to deny the Marines? Oh my gosh, this Dragoon coming from behind as well. That's going to be targeted down very quickly. The probes are doing so much work here. It's absolutely insane. He's just busting through this. Where are the medics, by the way? I didn't see any medics in here, and it really does feel like a bit of tilt from Light. He just doesn't really have the necessary things. He doesn't have... Did he have stim during that? Did he even stim?
I don't even think so. I think he was researching it, but it wasn't ready yet. I don't even know what happened there. That was not ideal, to say the least. I mean, Light's in trouble. He has to transition. I don't even know if he will be successful in doing so. Tyson is in a really fantastic spot. Like we were discussing earlier, you never know what's going to occur. Oh my gosh, he's going to go carriers, saying, are you kidding me? We're going to have a 2-base carrier follow-up from Tyson as well. Weirdly, bio is actually okay against carriers in the early phases because you can still gun down the interceptors quickly, but that's going to be outscaled so huge after he's lost that much bio to that push initially. So I don't know, man. I have a feeling like Tyson might be taking this game from Light, which would be a crazy upset.
Yeah, no medics and no stim. Bio attack versus Protoss. I am so confused right now as to what this actually was. Some Terran player need to let us know if this is just completely troll or tilt or what from that 350 out of 350 bunker. Like, that thing was so close to being finished. Did he just lose his composure because of that, or what are we actually looking at here, Xun?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it definitely I don't think this game has gone according to plan for Light. I definitely think he's in adjustment mode right now, trying to play more freestyle. He does look pretty calm in the booth, but I definitely don't think this game has gone according to plan in any sense of the word. And this two-base carrier follow-up from Tyson might just be the nail in the coffin, because right now Light is trying to transition to a much more standard game, and he's not going to get that. He's going to get a very fast 2-base carrier timing that he needs to punish. If he can't get in here, he's got like 3 minutes to come and attack Tyson and do some damage to him. If he doesn't do that, he's just going to probably lose now.
Yeah, he could move across the map and start building bunkers and stuff, and like slowly bunker pushing in with Marines assisting. That would be pretty strong against the carrier play, but there's going to be a Reaver here as well. That Reaver can start to gun down huge clumps of Marines, and Light just doesn't have the mass. Like, he can't bust through all of these Dragoons, and he just scanned it. He sees it. That's huge. He knows now that there are carriers on the way, and he's on a timer. I don't see him coming across the map and breaking through Tyson before 2 carriers or 4 carriers are out with interceptors.
No, I mean, the second carrier is just about to start, and just that second there. So he's got, about 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes 30 to actually do something about this. And I don't know if he's got the tools in his arsenal. There's a Reaver and a shuttle that's going to be sandbagging his efforts. He's trying to start to leapfrog a couple of turrets forward and sneak out this SCV scout. Now, it will live to this first Scarab due to splash damage. So might be able to get some information, but I doubt it. He's going to be caught by these Dragoons. Does manage to avoid taking any damage to this Reaver, but I'm not sure if that's going to help him much. He needs to actually do something and push out onto the map.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dragons out here. Now, Tyson does take a little bit of free damage on these Dragoons, which is never the way you want to try and do this, but he's going to be able to back up onto these high grounds and sandbag the push as Light pushes forward, and then eventually, as Light gets closer and closer to the main, he can rotate around using one of these other lanes and get behind the army and start to cut off reinforcements. So there's no real good way for Light to push. And he's just sort of slowly pushing over towards his third as it stands. Still, this is not a very good idea to take a third base while your opponent's going carrier. It's pretty tough to win a game like that when you let them get, 4, 6 carriers out before you even push.
Right, yeah, Tyson's navigated this perfectly. The only real way of dealing with this is a very fast biomech push to try and make use of these 2 barracks worth of production, but it's not going to be strong enough against this Reaver. Scarabs are just so good against bio. Any splash really just destroys bio, so has to instead wait for this transition to fully kick in, which slows down his push timing by a good couple of minutes, which allows these carriers to start to build up. Already 2 are finished, another 2 on the way. As soon as he gets 4 carriers out, it's going to start to become a living nightmare for this man. He's trying to sneak out with his army. Oh, there's no vision right now. Maybe, just maybe, this catches Tyson off guard, and somehow he can leverage that surprise factor into a winning game state. It's going to be tough, though.
Ooh, is he actually going to get spotted here? No, he manages to thread the needle and avoid the vision of Tyson. Now, did he actually see? I think he saw with the shuttle there the couple of Goliaths heading northward, and so he's figured out that this is coming, and especially this pylon's definitely going to see that. Here we go. The pylon's acting as a bit of a spotter, and Light has actually gotten himself into a pretty interesting little position here, but what about counterattacks? Can he not counterattack around this and cut off reinforcements here while bringing the carriers forward?
He might.
Yeah, if he just starts to gun down all of the anti-air of this army, and okay, he's actually going to counterattack right into the natural. Wow, this can hit over the wall. That's really rough for Tyson. He's going to have to pull everything back. But what is there back at home to actually stop this? While 4 tanks on the high ground is pretty good. That's going to be hard to break through for Tyson. But he's bringing the carriers up now. Maybe he can start to gun down those tanks so that he can bust through here into the natural.
I don't know, Saiyan. This is looking a bit of a tough egg to crack here for Tyson. He needs to use the carriers in conjunction with these forces to break this entrenched Terran position at bottom left. So he's going to be losing his Nexus in the natural pretty soon. It's going to be a really weird base tradey situation we're going to have on our hands. He has to get on top of the Terran production to prevent any Goliaths being produced, to make these Goliaths have a more active threat on the map. But meanwhile, he's getting his own face broken in. This is just turning into an absolute brawl. Both players not really acting defensive at all. They're just slugging it out right now, trying to knock each other out, going blow for blow currently in this game. This is looking like maybe, just maybe, Tyson can break through, but most of his infantry's dried up. He's not able to produce non-stop carriers as well, because he's trying to maybe squeeze out enough minerals for a Nexus somewhere else. He has to play more refugee-style Protoss here and try and get another base set up so he can always afford interceptors.
This is looking less like a professional boxing match and more like a hockey fight.
Yeah.
That we're watching here, just holding each other and smacking each other in the face with no real rhyme or reason. Both players having a hard time putting together a strategy. This carrier transition. Oh my god, Tyson. Wait. Tyson, what are you doing? Is he going to lose a carrier here? Oh,
Not
so
like
close.
this.
It does survive, though. Not many upgrades on those Goliaths, so they don't do much damage. Wow.
He got it. That's crazy, Saiyan. This is wild. Both players have lost their natural expansions. Tyson trying to break out. No, they're with a shuttle. Might be able to get just barely enough units on top of those tanks to clean us up somewhat cost efficiently. Hasn't really got much air support to make this work, though. So with the reinforcements of Lights, we'll be able to maintain the game state and keep Tyson pinned into his base right now. And there, I don't know why he's trying to make his Nexus there. That's a mistake. Why are you building a Nexus there? Build it somewhere else, man.
This is crazy. I can't believe Tyson is going to find a way to lose this game. After everything that's gone wrong for Light so far, you would assume that Tyson would be able to pull something together to take down Light. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous that he's going to actually lose this. But I think it is going to happen. He hardly has any income, and yeah, I was doubting Light for sure, but this is such a difficult position as a Terran player. It's hard to kind of overestimate what a tough spot you're going to be in after a failed early Marine push against a Nexus first, and then into a bio play and it doesn't work. Like, you're in such a tough spot, but he somehow manages to clutch it out regardless. Look at him, not very happy about that. You can see that he was struggling in that game. Tyson, of course, very, like, just devastated here that he managed to lose that one. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better game as a Protoss player, and he still managed to let it lose.
Yeah, he literally had every tool in his arsenal to make that win happen and wasn't able to do so. It's crazy that Light managed to sneak out onto the map in the way he did. He threaded the needle through all the dark vision there. It's kind of insane. He even had like the floating barracks to spot exactly where the spotter pylons were, so he could navigate safely up that lane and try and avoid detection for such a long time, allowing him to get entrenched right up against that natural expansion area. That Light just does what he does best and just stays calm under whatever pressure you apply to him and somehow figures out the win condition regardless of the game state. What impressive stuff. You can see why people go to him for advice.
Absolutely. This guy has a huge wealth of experience, and he managed to somehow bring this to a win. I think he can tell, though, that this was, like, just from the look on his face, you could tell that he wasn't expecting that win that game, and he's taking that in stride, like kind of a gift there from Tyson, handing that game back to him in such a rough position. Tyson goes down into the losers match, and Light will advance into the winners. What else can you say about that game, Xun? My goodness.
I mean, it's just, I'm kind of speechless, honestly. Tyson had everything going for him. Even had the Reaver to like stop and sandbag the push and deal with any possible biomech that Light might throw his way to do earlier push timing. It's crazy that Tyson managed to find a way of losing that game. Definitely should have been a lot more cautious and having all of the lanes completely scouted. He just had nothing to detect that bottom lane properly, and the whole army just snuck by like that. It's crazy that he allowed that to happen. If just a little bit better scouting from Tyson, that's probably a one game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sliding by with the full army is one thing, but also the decision to just dive up the ramp and try to throw everything into the natural.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, even just leaving the carriers back at home would have been so much better. Even if he did nothing with the army, if he just left it in front of the natural and did nothing with it, just let it sit there and wait for reinforcements from Light to come out and just prevent them from going across the map to reinforce that position. Eventually, he would have enough carriers. He would have 4 carriers. He could start taking down Marines, and there were only a few Goliaths there. Start to kill those off, and eventually he'll get rid of the anti-air, and he can take out that force. But for whatever reason, he decided to dive that natural.
He had a probe at the third base. What I thought Tyson was going to do was just sacrifice his natural expansion, wall off the ramp, take the Nexus there, and use that as your compensation prize. You know, just get some probes shuttled over to mine to be able to produce interceptors still, and do basically what you said, just wait for a higher carrier count, wedge between the rally points so you can no longer reinforce the front. Eventually you will clean that up with carriers. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Tyson's game plan there. Definitely showing some tournament jitters from not having as much experience as these other guys.
Yeah, some cracks showing for sure. Light as well, though, did not play a perfect game, guys. That is for sure. You can see that he is definitely killable. Any other top Protoss player, I think, any of these guys that we have made it through into the round of 16 so far, any of them could have taken that position, I think, and brought it to a win. And I'm sure we're going to see a bunch of videos from Jin and others, like, recording the reactions to Tyson's blunders here, because that was just a series of unfortunate events on either side that really led to that first victory for Light. Now we're going to go into Bisu versus krrrrz. That PVZ, very curious to see what krrrrz will pull out.
Yeah, and some of you guys may remember him going by the ID Baxter back in the day. He was really talented in both Zerg versus Zerg and Zerg versus Protoss. Recently, in the post-Kesper scene, he was sporting a 75% win rate in both Zerg versus Protoss and Zerg versus Zerg. Not doing so good against Terran, but very capable in these other two matchups. So maybe, just maybe, he can find a win here against Bisu as a man who needs no introduction. This guy basically designed how you play the matchup today. PVZ was revolutionized by this guy. He was the one that taught everyone how to take an expansion early, showed you the power of Corsairs and Dark Templars used in conjunction, and getting map control with such few units and utilizing your gas more efficiently as Protoss is so important when dealing with Zerg. Until that Sonic Storm is online, you're in a little bit of a deficit in terms of power scaling, so you need to buy as much time as possible in this early game.
Yeah, we basically know how Bisu's going to play. He's done the same thing for, decades. But krrrrz is another animal. That guy is crazy. Actually, you know what? I thought that Bisu would have a better record versus Zerg than Terran, but funny there, he's got a 59% win rate versus Terran. Look at those win rates, man. Versus all 57, that's pretty damn good for an ASL player.
Yeah, it's very difficult to maintain a plus 50% win record for anyone across the board, especially. Usually you have one matchup that's just worse than the others, and sometimes you're looking at a lot lower than 50% in that respective matchup. So pretty impressive for guys like Bisu, even though he is such a strong caliber of player from times old. This is a modern era. Bisu's got a lot more competition than he used to have. Some of these other guys are nowhere near what they used to be like. They are on a different level, saying it's hard to keep up with the scene. Everyone's constantly growing, learning, and evolving. And like Frieza, this isn't even their final form.
Somebody says Light has been doing this build on his stream a lot lately. Really? Marines only with no stim and medics. It's hard to believe, but I'll take your word for it. We're getting into this game now. Bisu versus krrrrz. He's going to pull out something crazy. I feel it. I feel it, Xun. krrrrz's going to have something wild for us.
I imagine there'll be some kind of shenanigans. You might just be seeing a straight up 973 or some very well calculated play. We saw combos of British stuff. We have to find out in just a few moments here because we're getting started, guys. I'm so excited. Let's get it. It's going to be game number 1 between krrrrz and Bisu on Eclipse.
Ooh, krrrrz not getting quite the the cheer. Oh my goodness. That was one of the saddest cheers I've ever heard in ASL, man. What was that?
Yeah, not enough fans in the crowd, unfortunately, for krrrrz. Bisu, though.
Sad boys in the crowd, fans of krrrrz. Like a emo crowd. Ooh.
Maybe that's what they like to do, like to go home and listen to sad music after the hard days of work.
Yeah, I think so. He kind of looks like a sad boy, actually. He looks like he, wore scene pants when he was in high school.
Yeah, definitely. Had a little quiff as well. They had to keep like flicking his head to get it out of his face.
Absolutely. He definitely looks like the type. Absolutely an adult, probably like 30 years old, but he kind of looks like a bit of a teenager. I guess that's the nice Asian genetics, keeping him looking young.
He definitely looks very youthful, yeah, that's for sure. Definitely doesn't look his age. Ooh, okay. Just a fast 9 pool going to be coming out from krrrrz here. Obviously, will be scouting him early is Bisu, so it won't be too much of a surprise here. But we do have the bait. Look at this. We have a gateway in the main for Bisu. You don't see this too often here.
Yeah, gateway in the main. Usually you'll go for a double gateway if you're going to do a style like this, but he's not going for the second gateway. I imagine we're going to see gas then.
It might be.
Yeah, no,
Second
double gateway. There it is. All right, so double gateway in main. This is a style that we really don't get to see that often. There's a couple of players who pull it out a lot. I know Tasteless does this a lot. Some strong Protoss players, they still kind of work with this occasionally, but it's not that popular. Gonna block this this natural hatchery for a long time. This is really strong because if you force the hatchery over to the third base, it becomes so much harder to defend the 2-gate.
Right, right. And this is exactly what Bisu wants. He wants him to take that hatchery over there. There are a lot of Zerglings on the way to help kill this pylon, but if Killer just ignores that and just wants to throw down this hatchery as soon as possible, it might come back to bite him. He has no idea that this 2-gate is coming. He's not drone scouting. He's trying to optimize his build order by not having to drone scout because he went for this early pull and Zergling. So this might just be the correct metagame from Bisu to navigate a very strong game here and put on a lot of pressure soon. He'll be wanting to wait for those first 3 Zealots, though. You don't just want to come out with your first one.
Yeah, he's probably just going to stay on the top of the ramp here and just hold. Will he take the gas, though, seeing this 9 pull? And he sees a gas as well from Killer. Surprised to see him come down the ramp with this Zealot, but here comes those other 2. They're going to start to push everything back. Killer's going to be forced to continuously make lings here, and he can't really take his natural because 3 hatchery versus a 2-gate Zealot push this early it's just not gonna go well for you. Killer, he's got something at that natural. I think it's a drone. Wow, he's gonna take the natural. Kind of crazy, honestly. Yeah, taking gas as well. He's probably gonna go ling speed and then pull off of gas because he's not. There's no way he can afford this much ling product or this many hatcheries with ling production with so few drones.
This is problematic because Bisu can block the ramp while one Zealot punches the hatchery, but he's actually going to allow Baxter to come up the ramp here. I'm not sure that's a wise decision from Bisu, but either way, he's going to start trading pretty efficiently. He does lose 2 of those probes. I think I would have preferred Bisu just to block the ramp there and wait for additional Zealots to arrive, but nonetheless, he is going to make the trade with some Zerglings. Does keep the Zergling count in more of a manageable number, so these 2 Zealots don't get bullied too heavily, but they still will have some problems. Look at that beautiful surround by Killer, catching one of them, taking it down. Low on HP. Bisu needs to be careful. If he doesn't kill this hatchery and loses too many of these Zealots, it will be problematic for him. Baxter might have a chance here. I'm sorry for mixing up his ID, guys. I'm so used to calling this guy Baxter. He has enough Zerglings here that maybe, just maybe, he can save this hatchery, though.
He's going to go ahead and block this ramp. Lings are trading on the ramp. It's a little bit rough, but he gets the surround from the bottom side, almost bringing all these Zealots to the brink of death, but they still have a little bit of HP. That's the worst, is when you have a bunch of Zealots here with just a tiny sliver of HP. They're still so scary to try to deal with. Oh gosh, he's going to dive in one more time. He's got plenty of hatches, plenty of larvae to work with, but hardly any money. This is rough for Killer. He's going to lose his hatchery for sure.
Yeah, this is rough now. He's not traded too well against these Zealots, and more of them are streaming across the map, and he's only just now finished up this hatchery in the natural. We will try and throw down the creep to defend against this, but it's not going to be fast enough. He does have some ling speed, though. Maybe, just maybe, he can get a good enough surround on these Zealots that he can survive and weather the storm, but this Sunken has to finish.
Well, he's got a bunch of lings coming up from behind. I think he clears us even without the Sunken, but it's pretty rough. A lot of these lings are actually at the top of the ramp, not engaging. Okay, he is going to push this back now. He should be able to force it away. Bisu saves all of his remaining Zealots, though doesn't allow anything to die to that Sunken colony, and he can actually come down this ramp now and try to take his natural. Actually, he's taken the gas, so we will be seeing a quick Corsair afterwards, I imagine.
Yeah, I want to get a bit of vision out on the map, see what's what. He no longer will be able to identify what Killer is doing behind this with the Zealot force. He's going to try and get these Zealots back home safely. It will be some time before Killer can drone up and stabilize his game state, so Bisu's going to be confident just to power up on one base here and get a little bit of tech going. Might want to make one Dragoon for this Overlord as well.
There is another way you can follow this up as Bisu. I've seen it a lot on ladder. I don't think it's the right way to play, but you can go Robo and make a Reaver. He's not going to do it, though. He's going to go for the standard Stargate. Yeah, I've seen people go Robo Reaver and then just send it across the map and try to kill you with it. It's super annoying to play against, and it's definitely not the right way to play, but, you know, Protoss players on the ladder, when have they ever played the right way? Oh my goodness. Running up this ramp. He's going to slip 2 lings inside. Very nice play there from Killer. Getting in here, might be able to kill a couple of probes and start to put the pressure finally back onto Bisu.
Not kill a single probe though thus far has Killer. This is a little bit problematic. I thought, okay, there goes finally 1 probe down. Some compensation going his way. It's taken him a long time to find that. Is with this speed going to try and get another probe kill here? With that Dragoon coming out though, would be a needing to kill as many as possible, as quickly as possible, because eventually you just would get those links caught there. I think he only killed like 1 probe or something though. That's pretty unimpressive. Has got a Hydra Den coming online in the natural expansion. I'm not sure if we saw a lair started in the main base for Killer, so I don't know if there's going to be a fast lurker play here or not. Okay, maybe.
Spire on the way after the Hydra Den. That Hydra Den going to be doing some work, at least blocking these Zealots from getting on top of the sunken colonies easily. 2 sunken colonies, definitely enough to hold. Bisu, as soon as he sees that, he knows that a Nexus is within his grasp. He's going to come down and take that without too much fear of a Killer counterattack. Just going to send this Corsair and find out what's going on, and once he sees that Spire, he'll know exactly what he's up against. I'm really liking Bisu's position, especially after killing that hatchery over there at the 3rd. There hasn't really been too much redeeming qualities here for Killer in this game after that first loss.
No, there really hasn't, Saiyan. I thought for a second there maybe he was going to try and go for a lurker bust as Bisu tries to take his natural expansion. He tries to get out enough lurkers where he can just run up to the wall here, target fire the cannon, and try and win that way. Maybe, just maybe that would have worked, I don't know. But the Spire play, I kind of feel like Bisu's going to navigate this game pretty flawlessly from here. Killer does have a fighting chance on 2 base worth economy to maybe make something happen with some Mutalisks and Scourge catching Corsairs. I just don't think that's going to occur. I think Bisu's going to be able to close this game out.
It's going to be tough, that's for sure. I like the idea of going to Lurker. If you're not going directly into that Robo and you've invested in this Corsair, you're building up your army, right? You're not really investing into a Robo early. And so a sudden switch into Lurker and then running up and killing, like, you don't have to have enough army to actually beat the Protoss, and you're probably not going to have enough on 2 bases to just smash through the Protoss. So utilizing that lack of detection early game, that can actually be a good road to victory. He's just not going to take that opportunity here, building a bunch of mutas and trying to chase down this first Corsair. It's not going to happen. But he should be able to kill the Dragoon, no problem. You know, go after some probes, maybe. That is a possibility. Go after the Zealots as well. They're still slow, so you can get a lot of damage on those. But Corsair numbers starting to get big here. 4 already, and as soon as we're about 5 or 6, Bisu will just be able to push him back completely, and it's going to be very hard for Killer to match him. He's going to try and take his 3rd base now. He really needed something to push back the army of Bisu so that he could take this 3rd base. Now that he's got the mutas out here, he's going to use that time to take the 3rd, but it's not going to last long. This time, this window here where he's actually got map control is going to be extremely small. Bisu's going to be out here punishing him again in just a moment.
Yeah, I really felt like Killer was too far behind to play like this. I don't know if he's got a strong enough comeback potential with going Spire. I really do think like just doing a Lurker all-in would have been the highest win percentage for him, because as it stands, he's just barely getting his 3rd online now. Like, it's only just started, and BC's already got a Corsair fleet available to him. This is going to be so hard for Killer to turn this into a win. Maybe, just maybe, he can start to catch some of these Corsairs and thin them out enough that the ground army will be able to be like just charged down by the Mutalisks and cleaned up. But I don't think that's going to occur, saying there's only like 5 Mutas out with a couple of pairs of Scourge. There's no way he's going to be able to hold this off for much longer. He's building more and more Mutalisk and Scourge now, kind of a defensive Ogre Zerg, which is a rough state of the affairs. That you're doing this kind of play defensively, you know you're in trouble.
Well, let's see if he can get big connections on these Corsairs with his Scourge. If he splits the Scourge perfectly and engages with the Mutas at the same time, it's hard to target down the Scourge. So there's a possibility he wipes out all the Corsairs, and then he can take control in the air and then take control of the game a little bit. But he has to get those Scourge connections, and I just don't see Bisu letting that happen. Let's see. Coming forward here, gonna try and threaten these Corsairs away, diving back and forth. It really doesn't seem like he's split all of these up onto separate hotkeys so that he can hit all of the Corsairs. He's just gonna rely on an A move to hopefully hit as many Corsairs as possible. In fact, Bisu will just back up. He's waiting for a few more Corsairs to make this a little bit more one-sided, going his way before he actually engages this army.
To be fair, this is a really big overextension from Bisu, throwing away that many units for free and not really accomplishing much with it. I actually think now Killer has way more of a fighting chance. I think that Bisu was way too overzealous in coming over to the map with those units like that, and he allowed the Scourge to zone out his Corsairs a little bit too effectively here. Just maybe Killer can somehow navigate this into win. He's only 9 supply, trailing Bisu right now. He's getting on top of his melee infantry, takes out another Dragoon. Oh, look at the Scourge. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way of making this work for Killer. There's 9 currently Corsairs in the count. He's trying to dive bomb onto them, does manage to take him down to 4 now. Some more Scourge flying in as well. There's 3 cans of natural expansion. He's trying to morph an Archon, but snipes one of the High Templars as well, saying this is getting out of hand for Bisu.
Ooh, these are some great snipes. The engagement wasn't perfect from Killer, but it was good enough. He killed enough Corsairs there to remove the possibility for Bisu to move out easily on the map. A third base is now being saturated, all behind this Killer. Even though he was microing like a madman there to get those Corsair snipes, still hitting his macro behind this. The mark of a very skilled player, and he's even taken a 4th base down in the bottom right. I don't think that will stand, but there's a possibility he can make that work. Diving in with some more Corsair, or some more Scourge. He almost gets a Corsair there, even though it's 6. This is a scary game now for Bisu, where it seemed like he had a pretty straightforward victory, win chance there. And now it's going to be a little bit tough.
But you can pick off this gas for free. It's out of range of the Sunkens. That's something there, but they might not even accomplish much more beyond that. I don't think he's going to get too many drone kills. What he really needs to do is get some Zealots down here to this 4th base. So he's going to distract all the Mutalisks to come and defend against this, while the Zealot hit squad runs down to this bottom right 4th base and starts putting a lot of DPS onto that hatchery. It's going to be much harder now for Killer to stop this 4th base from going down.
Yeah, he doesn't quite need the 4th base just yet. There's still no 3rd on the way for Bisu. He's managed to deny that for now. Looks like he's actually going to send out a drone, I think, to try and take a hatchery over at top center. That 4th base instead, and he's caught the probe one more time, slowing this base down for Bisu. That's pretty annoying. It's really going to slow him down. He needs to get cannons up there and defend that properly as soon as possible. Killer's invested a huge amount into Mutas, though.
Yeah.
If Bisu gets this really massive army of Corsairs and some Archons in the mix as well, and the engagement doesn't go Killer's way, his army is going to absolutely vaporize. He has to at least keep away, play a good game of keep away from Bisu for the time being. If not sniping Corsairs, he needs to stay out of range of an engagement until he can get some Hydras out. Otherwise, he might get completely overwhelmed. A 2nd Stargate now? Oh, that's really strange from Bisu. Kind of interesting, though. I wonder how that's going to work out for him.
Oh, there's so many Scourge trying to fly in. The Sonic Shockwaves, all those Archons, though, should be able to act as strong point defense, preventing too much damage occurring. Needs to be so careful with this air fleet that he's been able to muster. Does have +1 Carapace on those Zerg air units as well. He's only just now transitioning into a ground army right as Bisu consolidated his air force, as well as having a few Archons out on the ground. So there's no actual high Templars for Storm Energy right this second. So if he does manage to transition, get these bases online, get enough hatcheries, weather production, maybe, just maybe, Killer can build enough of a force. He's going to cancel this hatchery up here as well. He knows there's no way of holding on to that. He's going to try and dive onto these Corsairs with the Scourge, but not able to do so. Bisu's doing a great job of utilizing these Archons as point defense for his army, so he can now come out onto the map much more safely.
Ooh, we've got quite a few Hydras starting to come out. They probably don't have their upgrades just yet, though. Might be waiting on range or speed for the time being. He's not willing to push out at all just yet. Gonna split off a few Zealots to go and kill that 4th base while his own 3rd finishes up. If Killer loses his base, not able to get his 4th online, he is going to start to fall behind in the curve of the game. Here he comes up towards that 4th here on high ground. Can he actually get that base, or is he going to be denied for like a 3rd, 4th time here? Bisu gets a great connection with those Corsairs, wipes out the Scourge, and this is exactly what I was afraid of Xun. He is losing everything in the air.
And not only that, but he's losing these hatcheries. He cannot get a 4th base online. Oh, look at the moving shot. Those neutron flares gunning down those Mutalisks, saying this is brutal for Killer. He has a strong supply right now, but it doesn't matter. There's no way of really leveraging that. He needs to keep a low count of high Templars. That these Hydras will actually be a strong fighting force on the ground. But if you've lost your air fleet and you've got no way of minimizing the count of Corsairs, he's going to kill all of your Overlords while you're fighting as well. This is going to be problematic to say. Look how many Corsairs there are flying around right now, saying these Overlords are not long for this world.
I really would have liked to see Killer engage with his ground army before engaging with the Scourge and Mutas. Like, wait for the Corsairs to commit, to start going after your Overlords, and then try to fly in and kill those off while all the other micros taking place for Bisu in the fight on the ground. But instead, he sent in those Scourge, lost everything, and then started to lose his Mutas as well. Now they're super low, and he's going to be relying on just one big round of Hydras to fight this army, which now has Storm as well. It's just going to be very tough. A very tough sell for Killer to make this work. Still, his supply is good. Is he going to be able to take a fight here? Coming forward, a DT is going to spot everything and react to this properly, appropriately. He's going to bring his ground army and his Templars and Storm over towards this base. He's catching on to some of these Mutas before the fight even takes place. His Templar have one of the best bodyguard forces I've ever seen. How are you going to dive that with Mutas?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Mutas won't be able to do that at all. There is only a couple of High Templars, though. Maybe with some good Sonic Storm. Does he try to dive with the Mutas and get on top, but it doesn't able to do so. Does manage to target the fire down the High Templar. The Hydras, though, actually Killer has taken out a lot of the sting of this army. There are 4 High Templars banking up engine natural expansion, though. He tries to smell blood and go for it right now. I think there's just barely enough High Templar energy in reserve to start storming these Hydras into death, though. It's going to be very careful with the positioning of these Hydras and also dodging back. There's so many Hydras that it makes it very difficult to storm dodge, but he's not storming. He's got one storm, but he's not used it yet. This is crazy. He's losing so many of his zealots. He needs to storm out. What are you doing, Bisu? He's losing his High Templars. He's not storming. I can't believe what I'm watching right now, saying he didn't storm at all.
My eyes, Xun. Oh my god, they're burning. Did he forget Storm? That's the only explanation. This is such a wild, wacky game. Bisu actually forgot Storm, and he's gonna lose because of it. Unbelievable, Xun. Unfathomable.
I can't even. I'm speechless. This is crazy. What am I watching? This is the PVZ like Chogosu of all time. This is the Bonjour here that's somehow not even able to get the Sonic Storm splash upgrade needed to.
Make such a mistake. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
That's so wild. Look at Baxter, can't believe it. He's shaking.
Yeah, this just doesn't make sense. Look at the look on Bisu's face. He's embarrassed. I mean, this is going to be an excellent farm for Jin. Like, he's going to make so many views off of the videos that people are making, you know, all the reactions from all the different pro players watching Light fumble with, you know, Marine Medic, and then Tyson still lose that game. And now we've got Bisu fumbling this game, which was clearly he had an insane advantage, and he just threw it away by not getting Storm. What were we in, like 20 minutes into that game, and he still didn't have Storm? Unbelievable.
Yeah, really unbelievable, Sam. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. It's really wild stuff what we're seeing here in ASL. Everything is just unexpected. It sounds like the script writers from the universe are working overtime. They got bored with the current state of affairs and they wanted to mix it up a little bit. You really don't know what's going to happen in this tournament. We're going to be saying that a lot because it really is true. It's crazy, saying crazy what we have here. It's blowing my mind, honestly. I never know what to expect every time we wake up for this cast.
Absolutely. I'm just going to change the stream title here. I definitely did forget to update that. Was too excited about having our Clean stream here, finally active. There it is, guys. We've updated the title. I apologize. Still have a long way to go with getting this stream up to snuff. It's not quite where I want it to be here just yet. So thank you guys for letting me know in the chat what needs to be worked on, and leaving your comments on the video as well. We're going to be checking those on StarCastTV. VODs are going to be uploaded to StarCastTV, by the way, guys. So you guys can check it out. If you missed any of the videos, you can check out the VODs here on Soup, or you can check them out on StarCastTV. Just a little reminder to support the stream as well with gems or subscriptions, or you can support us with a sub to the Patreon for StarCastTV. Keep the lights on. Help us to bring you guys more great content like the SCSL, which we just casted the finals of very recently. I won't spoil it. That tournament is also on the come up, guys. That is a fantastic tournament. You should definitely check it out. If you're just here for ASL and you haven't watched the SCSL, definitely check that one out, guys. That might be a tournament that we have in person someday in the studio at some point. That would be amazing as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Same. We really do appreciate all your support, and that tournament in particular has got so much more attention and eyes on it from the Korean scene now as well. So I imagine that's going to be something quite special, especially in the seasons to come. We may be casting that live start of season 5. We'll have to wait and see. Everything's kind of crazy in the StarCraft scene right now. It does seem like we're entering into this like new golden era of StarCraft, and we might be having so many more great games for you guys. So pretty much all year round, it's going to be wild, hard to keep up with. It's going to be such dizzying StarCraft action. We do have Killer versus Light coming up in the winners match. I did not think that. I thought we were going to having a Light versus Bisu match. We're going to have to wait for that maybe in the final match. We'll have to see what happens, but who knows? Maybe Killer can somehow take out Light. He does sometimes have to rely on mind games and early game shenanigans versus Terran. It is his weakest matchup. Much more strong in that versus Protoss and Zerg. Light, though, he used to be a Terran versus Zerg god, like just destroying everyone, but most recently not having the strongest of showings versus Zerg in the ASL. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way of Killer making this work. Well, my money would still be on Light.
Oh, yeah. Money's got to be on Light here. He is super solid versus Zerg. Crazy, crazy good with his style. Very aggressive style of play from him. Pulls players apart. Just on the regular, pulling apart players like Hero, like Solkey. In the Soup Duel series, we recently had a series between Light and Solkey, which was a great best of 7, by the way. You guys should definitely check it out. The VODs are here on Soup, and also up on my YouTube channel, Saiyan KCM. Go check that out. Check out the KCM as well, guys. So just like you said, so much good StarCraft content out there right now. Don't sleep on all the other stuff that's going on, because you won't get the full picture of the lead up to ASL and how these players are developing.
Especially in some of these other online tournaments where they take it a lot more serious than they do their ladder games. So definitely keep some eyes on those events, guys. Really crazy, good high-level StarCraft we've been seeing. Light, though, he's the kind of guy that cuts SCVs really early on in this matchup, right around that sort of 35 to 40 mark. He likes to hit his attack timings just a little bit faster, and this is what this matchup is all about, those mid-game timing pushes. So if you give yourself an extra few seconds of a window to work with by cutting SCVs, it does allow you to exploit the transitional points of weakness of the Zerg just that little bit more crisply.
Yeah, absolutely. Right as the Zerg is coming online, those extra hatches are coming up, and they're spending so much money on upgrades. Zergs get a little greedy. They start building extra drones and skipping out on continuous Hydra and Lurker production. And Light is just so good at getting in there with those big drops, smashing through the defenses. Let's see if he can do the same versus Killer, or will Killer pull out something really nasty in this next upcoming game? He is one of those players, kind of like a Zealot, that pulls out some wacky, aggressive Zerg versus Terran plays. And maybe, God is on his side tonight. Maybe, he's going to be counting his lucky stars. After that win versus Bisu, it seems like he's fated to make his way into the round of 16. He just needs to make it happen.
Something's on his side, saying, because the PVZ Bonjour forgot Storm 18 minutes into a game, so something's on his side. I don't know if it's the universe, like God. I don't know. Something's on his side from the other side. What's beyond? He's got a monkey paw. He's making wishes. He's only used up 1 or 2 so far. Maybe, just maybe, he can go all the way.
That would be incredible. That would be insane. If Killer makes it through the round of 16, that means that one of Light or Bisu won't, which is unthinkable, honestly.
Unthinkable. Yeah, it's crazy. It does look a little bit like that might be occurring. I mean, there was a lot of shakiness from Light in that first game against Tyson as well. That was not an easy game for Light to win. He kind of also had the stars aligned for him to be able to thread the needle with the army prove out. Well, we're going to be getting into this game, guys. I'm so excited. It's the winner's match between Light and Killer. Get ready. I don't even know if I'm ready for this. This is insane.
Here we go. All right. A little bit of a stronger cheer there for Killer this time. He's earned some fans after that win over Bisu. That was a wild game. Bisu going for 2 gateway. We rarely ever see it out of him, but ends up kind of throwing that game away. Now Light almost through his game versus Tyson. Will he be able to pull it together and take down Killer? Killer here in the bottom left. Light in the bottom right. We got that horizontal spawn here. Leaves some good options for Killer to take a third base. Like, there's a lot of different areas you could try to take here as Killer.
Yeah. Yeah, with the horizontal spawns, you can get your Mutalis into the main base of the Terran just that little bit of an earlier timing here. So Light may want to prioritize the turrets on his production line and the mineral line in his main base before his natural expansion here. But other than that, there's not really too much craziness that can occur from these spawns. It's such a macro-orientated map that I doubt we'll be seeing anything too crazy out of these guys. There's probably not going to be a BBS or a 4-pull or anything like that. It is always possible in the ASL that you see something crazy. I imagine these 2 guys, though, have got a much more mid-game centric style planned, where Killer's going to maybe either think of some sort of mind game to throw at Light, try and throw him off, or maybe catch him with a Ling stab timing just before mutas are out. Something like that will be maybe occurring. Light is not walling in the natural expansion, so he is considering the possibility of like 4-pull and things here, just to make sure he's extra safe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Keeping that barracks inside the main base does kind of lean towards maybe a bit of a fear of like a 4-pull or something taking him out. If he loses here, it's going to be rough. Probably will have to take on Bisu for the final match and could end up getting eliminated. So just going to rely on his superior understanding of the game and, you know, kind of strong scouting to figure out whether Killer is going to start putting on Ling pressure or not. And just respond appropriately. The wall is nice. Like, it allows you to get away with more. And you don't have to be as good at scouting and knowing what your opponent's doing. If you just know that they can attack you with Lings, it's nice. But Light is totally capable of just sussing out what Killer's up to and responding accordingly, having like a little supply depot here in the natural and just putting his Marines in a good position. He should be able to hold on to everything.
Right, and Light did manage to obfuscate this CC timing, so it's not so obvious what Light might be doing right now. He's trying to make another attempt at scouting that with the drone. He's going to poke in, see the CC, then back out again. He does now confirm the exact build order, so he knows this is 1 Rax FE. Nothing to really worry about for the time being, at least. We'll be going into a normal 2-hatch lair play, not optimizing for lava. He got that pretty crisp at around 252 or something. pretty fast timing, which indicates he's not trying to optimize for economy here. Does have the naked marine move out to worry about though. Needs some early lings and also to scout this coming. If he starts chasing this SCV scout right when the marines show up, suddenly you've lost mining time and drones in the natural expansion. That's not something you want to deal with as Zerg early on.
And this is a really typical move from Light, but it can do a lot of damage if it's unscouted and you're not building enough lings. And he's actually going to chase the SCV.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh boy, Killer gonna take a lot of damage here. He could lose a couple of drones potentially. One drone goes down, second one might be targeted. We're gonna have to pull out of this natural. Built a what's this? Okay, Spire. I was like, why are you building a sunken colony there? Really? This is a bit of an overreaction.
Kind of close to the ramp, I guess.
Yeah, right. No, so yeah, not the case. Just gonna throw down that Spire and have to eat these losses.
Right. Yeah, this is a little bit problematic. You don't really lose too much here, but you lost one drone. That's pretty painful as Zerg. It's also the lost mining time that's really hurting you. You just can't get as enough minerals to make these Mutalisks as you need. It did also get ling speed, so Killer has even one less muta due to the fact that he's gone for this early research into ling speed, and he's not going to be able to get enough done with it. Like, Light is sewn up tight with a bunker and the natural expansion, hasn't lost any marines to these. Needs to be careful with that one. As long as he doesn't lose any marines to these Zerglings, he's going to be feeling fantastic going into this game. He's got a 2-Rax follow-up as well, so he's going to be able to produce a lot of bio units to put even more pressure onto Killer and either threaten the third base or force Sunkens. And either way, he's going to be feeling good.
Yeah, Killer is dancing to Light's tune right now. I don't really have any good excuses for him either, right? He saw no wall, and so it's pretty clear that the Terran player is going to build a lot of Marines, right? They just need extra Marines to make sure that they don't die to lings. Like, he's not going to be cutting a lot of corners if he doesn't have a wall. So a naked Marine move out makes sense, right? You build a bunch of Marines, and then you're probably going to want to put on pressure with them. Just didn't scout for it at all, didn't look, didn't expect it, and got caught off guard, lost a lot. Now he's in a bad spot against Light, one of the most powerful, scariest Terran players out there when it comes to TVZ. It's really a tough spot here, but Killer's going to have these mutas coming across the map now. Looks like turrets are on time. He really needs to do something with these mutas, otherwise Light is going to just run away with this.
Yeah, and Light knows that. That's what he's bodyguarding, these SCVs, building turrets in the most precious sense of the word. He's got the turrets already finished up in his naturals, so he can keep his main fighting force in the main base to try and push away these Mutalisks when they try and dive in like this. Since he's not got 7, it takes a little bit of time to actually kill off some of these SCVs, having to double volley everything. Oh, that's a pretty good catch, though, getting a couple of Marine kills already. He needs to somehow shave down this bio count over and over again if he's going to have any chance of stabilizing this game state, because eventually Light's going to want to push out onto the map, and he doesn't want to have to make Sunkens.
Range is not done, so this is the best time to abuse these Marines. Looks like that's just finishing up, though, now. And so Light will be able to stim and deal some damage to these mutas if they come in once again. Killer waiting for a few more mutas to arrive here so he can start to snipe at the natural. He's going to come in and try to kill one of these turrets, open up the position a bit, but he will lose a muta. And he takes quite a bit of damage here from those Marines. Pretty good control there from Light, already shaving off 2 mutas. This is starting to look a little bit weak here for Killer. Factory already on the way here. 7-minute factory, very on time, very on curve for Light. Expect nothing less here. A lot of Marines starting to move forward, and he can put on that counter pressure.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Killer. If he doesn't keep this bio count low enough, eventually Light's just going to explode out onto the... You see that pre-stim from Light? He wants him to come in so he can just gun down the mutas without even having to stim again. Sometimes you'll also just stim one Marine to trick them into thinking you've stimmed the whole force. You can't really tell the difference between one Marine stimming and all 12 of them. So a little bit of mind games from both players. And with only 3 medics, you need to be careful of how many times you're actually stimming, because eventually the reserves of these medics will run dry, and then you're in a lot lot of trouble if you can't actually heal up your biounits. Oh no, this one Marine finds the expansion in the top left, and it will be maybe killing some of these drones. It's stim though, actually. He won't be able to do that. It's only got 5 hit points, so funnily enough, that drone's just going to chase that Marine across the map probably while he's distracted microing these Mulis in the main base. He's trying to get on top of these bioforces. Oh, these turrets are low, saying maybe, just maybe, he can get on top of the Terran production line. This might be great in forcing the Terran to keep coming back and defending this position. Will give him that transition that he needs, getting this Hydra Den finished, the lurker aspect on the way. He's even built quite a few Zerglings, so now Light tries to, oh, look at that scan from Light. He sees the Mutaling count. He knows exactly what's coming.
Yeah, getting that scout is really big. If he started to move out right now, a pretty good chance that Killer could just overwhelm that force and might put Light in a bad position. If you wipe out this whole army right as you're transitioning to lurkers, you can get some lurkers out in front of the natural. It gets really difficult. Gonna dive on top of this bunker. Ooh, I don't like this, Xun. Diving the bunker and losing every ling. Now Light can push out, and he's not going to be afraid of, you know, getting surrounded and killed with this bioforce. Right. That's giving away a lot of the leverage here for Killer.
I think so. I think that's a little bit of an overextension. I don't know why he wants to bust that bunker so desperately. It doesn't really accomplish a lot for him right now. He just needs to transition, maybe get a 4th gas online in the next few minutes and try and go crazy fast into his late game tech. Maybe he'd have a really strong game of it. I think he's underestimating his game state a little bit. He's in a fine game state. Light really doesn't have any leverage in the mid to late phase as much as he would usually. His tech timings are so slow. We have a lot of barracks being produced. He's only just now got his science facility finished up. It's going to be some time until these vessels are even out to really be a problem for Killer. He had his transition kind of like under wraps, but now he's kind of forcing the issue, trying to be a bit more aggressive. He has some lurkers morphing. Maybe he wants to try and set up for a contain here. There's no tanks on the way, but it's not going to be enough. Like, Light's going to just get on top of these eggs and kill them as they hatch.
Oh boy, he's going to have to try and take this engagement right as the lurkers are popping out. Dive in with the lings and mutas. Here we go. He's going to dive on this. The scan, pre-scanning before the lurkers pop out, but the lurkers are actually still quite a ways away. There we go. Now they pop out after all the lings are dead. This is actually pretty decent for Killer. He manages to save all but 1 lurker because of that dive in. I really thought he was going to go at the same time. So did Light, right? He scanned thinking that, oh, this is the timing when the lurkers are about to pop out. Okay, let's fight. But didn't realize that those still had quite a bit of time left on them. Interesting decision there for Killer to dive at that moment.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a weird one there. I think he was trying to clear enough of the forces that the lurkers wouldn't just be targeted down. Wasn't maybe a little bit miscalculated by both sides. Now he's going to try and run into natural expansion and set up a contain, though. This could be really good for Killer. If he gets on top of the bunker, maybe, just maybe, he can kill some of these SCVs as well. Light might have to turn around for this. I don't know if he can actually just ignore this. He has to turn his army back to defending it. This is great for Killer. Pulling the whole army of Light back right now is so annoying. And he's even got enough lurkers here that he can just threaten the SCV line. This is kind of great. Now he has to trade off the lurkers. He will get a pretty good irradiate on those Mutalisks, though. Killer's just going to tap out for a bit of a battle Zerg moment where he could kill the majority of Light's army off and set up a strong contain and stop him from mining in the natural expansion, but that never occurred. Light just handled that a little bit too cleanly.
Yeah, I think there was a moment there where maybe if he had run up the ramp, he could have taken a better trade, but Light just had so many forces. There was just that 1 second where Light was coming back from the front, and he kind of missed the window. It was a scary game for Killer regardless. Light was getting way too powerful. This was a really tense moment. I'm shocked that he went in when the lurkers weren't even halfway done. Like, look at this. Lurkers are about halfway done. Light's like thinking, oh, they're going to pop out any second. He's coming in with his army. For sure, these are about to pop out, but that's just Killer doing kind of an unorthodox thing, just diving in here way before these are finished. It ended up working out okay, but not good enough. Didn't wipe out the Marine force. Wasn't able to push into the natural, push these Marines back into the natural. He had to go around behind them and kind of set himself up for a surround afterwards.
Right. He definitely was trying to treat these lurkers as high priority targets to make sure he could then set up a container after the fact. But in doing so, lost a lot of those Mutaling for free about utilizing the support of those lurkers. And this attack was just a little bit too weak as a result. He did turn around the main force of Light, which was necessary, but there's just not enough here to do enough damage to Light. He needs like 1 or 2 more lurkers with some Mutaling support to really do some critical damage to these bio forces as they come back to clean this up. And it just wasn't there. Unfortunately for Killer, his little game plan kind of fell flat on his face and he went splat. Does have a fighting chance still. We'll be seeing him in that finals match. He did do a pretty good job of catching Bisu off guard since the Forgot Storm. Maybe, just maybe, he can make something happen in that finals match. I don't know though. I have to think it's going to be Light and Bisu still making out of this group.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Anything can happen in PvP though, right? We've got this Tyson versus Bisu PvP coming up. It's kind of a wacky matchup. There is some rock, paper, scissors that goes on in PvP. Like, are you going to go DT? Are you going to go early Reaver? How quickly are you going to get into your observers? 3-gate is quite strong on Pantheon as well, right? It's not like the main base is kind of on low ground, sort of. At least it's not on high ground, right? So the 3-gate goon can be kind of strong on a map like this. And that therefore, you know, DT can also be strong because it's great against a 3-gate goon. I'm really interested in the mind games that are going to go on in this next game, but we're getting a little interview with Light first. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Hoping you're enjoying this ASL group so far.
Yeah, I hope you guys are having a good time. And Light's probably feeling pretty good about the way things have gone. He's definitely not so happy about game number 1. His plan definitely did fall flat on its face. It was really weird that bunker finished with 350 health, but didn't actually technically complete. I've never seen that before, actually. I don't know if that's good. That sort of thing rattles a player when things don't go according to plan. It seems like players like Light just don't really get affected by that too much. They always seem to remain calm as a cucumber and just, you know, focus on the next win condition. And they don't really get dissuaded in their efforts as some of these other newer guys.
Yeah, that's a sign of a champion for sure. Light, he's got a ASL championship under his belt, a KSL championship as well, and he is a seasoned veteran. He's got a big smile on his face now. Oh, talking about his kids there. Is that his kid? Oh, that's funny. A lot of these guys are parents now. It's quite an interesting dynamic. There we go.
The next generation StarCraft gamer there in the making.
We don't have too many young guys in here. A lot of these guys that we consider like new or like they haven't been in the scene for very long. They're still around 30 years old. Very rare that we have anybody under 30 playing in the ASL.
Yeah, it's very weird to have younger guys here. Once upon a time, TY Baby was the youngest guy in the scene, hence the ID Baby. Now he's fully grown up as well. It's really weird saying times are changing. Everyone is just so old these days.
Yeah, but even though they're older, still everybody seems strong. Like there was a time when we used to think about Brood War and StarCraft in general as like so based on reaction speed and, you know, quick twitch muscle. Like we thought that once you passed 25, people were just going to completely fall off, right? It just hasn't been the case though.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, that people were just not going to be fast enough anymore. Once they passed that like prime age for quick reaction speed, they weren't going to be able to compete. But turns out, you know, experience, game knowledge, understanding, strategy. Turns out it really is a strategy game, guys. This is not a, it's not a reactions-based game. It's not like a Counter-Strike or something like that where the most important thing is how quickly you react. This is truly a strategy game, a real-time strategy game, as the name entails.
Yeah.
And
You definitely
yeah,
have to be fast enough, but you don't necessarily have to be the absolute fastest player is the critical thing. Although we did see some absolute insanity from the likes of Speed in his group stage, playing at 500 APM out of his mind levels of speed. If you can combine that level of mechanics with, high decision making and understanding of the game state and overall like just a well-developed comprehension of the game, that's the ultimate player right there. We only really seen that in the likes of Flash. But I mean, Speed is looking even faster and maybe more adept in some things than Flash was when he was up and coming. So who knows? Maybe Speed will be taking the scene by storm in the future with just overall high levels of understanding, as well as combining that with his crazy mechanics.
yeah, I think that Speed is like over 30 as well, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's
is
not
very
young.
fast. He is very fast, but he suffers the same, lack of or declining uh, reaction time as all of us. But he is just dominating. He is playing so out of this world, crazy out of his mind at 500 APM, and it's less about how quickly you react to things. It's more about really preempting things more with Terran, right? You're setting things up before fights. You're moving things ahead of time, kind of predicting what your opponent's going to do, and then getting into position beforehand. It's less about quickly reacting to what your opponent is doing and more predicting what they're going to do and what moves they're going to make, and then moving ahead of time to get out in front of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, definitely want to be able to outthink your opponent in these high-level games. You need every tiny advantage you can get. It comes down to the wire in terms of these tiny percentages of who can do better than the other person in both their preparation and their execution. It's just such a difficult tournament saying all around. Well, there's the man that's not feeling too good right now. That's Bisu, who forgot to make his storm upgrade, probably thinking, uh-oh, that's gonna be a hard thing to live down. There's gonna be a lot of people clowning on me for that probably. I need to kind of pull it together here and absolutely go smash on this guy in this losers map and make sure that I get a little bit of my mojo back for the rest of the tournament too.
Well, his path is clear at least. He needs to take down this man right here, Tyson, and then Killer will be his final opponent. It would have been a lot harder if Light had lost to Killer there in that last game. My gosh, that would be a tough road to redemption for Bisu, but luckily, it's just Tyson and Killer. We can still have both Light and Bisu make it through. What game plan does Tyson have in mind, though? What kind of crazy PvP is he going to pull out? He managed to do very well against Protoss in the qualifiers. He beat Noob, who is a very strong Protoss player. Bisu also took out some Protoss on his way up. So like both of these guys are definitely at the top of their game when it comes to PvP. It's such a RNG based matchup, or such a poker matchup where you have to guess what your opponent is going to try to do and try to preempt that. Scouting information is everything, of course, figuring out what your opponent is going to do, but you can't really know in the early game what they're up to with their build most of the time. You're going to be blocked. You're going to be stopped from getting that information. So here we go. Bisu versus Tyson. Let's get this game started. Here he is, Bisu, on stage once again. Tyson here for his second time. Thank you for correcting me, guys, in the chat. Second time Tyson's made it up onto the stage. Still got to be feeling nerves, though. It takes a while, I think, to really calm down and play your best.
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to have at least 2 or 3 run-ins with this event before you finally kind of calm down a little bit. Like, okay. You can actually play your A game. I think that guy there holding the sign, smiling, he's got a Pure Ownage hoodie on saying "I poon noobs" on the front in red ink. That's from a long time ago. That is an OG merch if I've ever seen one.
That's sick. Yeah, being in the crowd, guys, is a special experience. If you have the opportunity to go out and see the ASL in person, I definitely recommend it. Hey, there we go. There's a happy guy who made it out there to Korea for this incredible event, and you guys should definitely make it a priority as well. Go out there and see it. You never know what can happen. This event should be going on, and it should be in person for a long time to come, but, I mean, we saw what happened during COVID, guys. Like, literally anything can happen. We could end up going, you know, all online for everything soon.
Yeah, who knows, guys? Crazy world we live in. Both players, though, taking their gas first. We got Bisu as the blue Protoss in the top left and Tyson in the bottom left as Magenta on Metropolis. Both of them electing for a one-base tech play to start things off. You basically got two diversions here. One guy can go 2-gate and the other guy can go 1-gate tech. Usually the most confident player will go for the 1-gate tech, and both of them are feeling pretty confident in their abilities. So we will be seeing just a 1-gate core opening from both sides.
Things are going to start to diverge with what they want to do with that core. Are we going to see... Oh, actually, I did say it was going to be on Pantheon, but it's actually on Metropolis. My bad, guys. I thought we were going to see the same map as Light versus Killer, but here we are on Metropolis. That 3-gate goon is not going to be nearly as powerful when you've got that high ground, especially such a tight ramp with the mineral patch there. I wonder how that factors into these guys' play in PvP. Yeah. It definitely has an impact for my ZVZs.
So it probably makes you feel even more safe going for this 1-gate tech play, just a tighter ramp to worry about. I guess there would be some weird game states where that they could try and mine it out if you both went 2-gate, but I doubt we're going to see any games like that in the ASL. That's something you'd see on the low rank ladder. Let's see if we're going to be seeing a fast range from either side here, or we're going to be throwing down that robo right away. Okay, both players starting their range first. This is pretty typical right now, not being super greedy of their tech timings. Both players will be potentially scouted. If he can somehow block this ramp with the Zealot, this will be pretty huge. Tyson not being able to scout what Bisu's doing. Oh, he will sneak in a little bit with the probe. Does take it out, but does see pretty much the same mirrored build at least. So now can kind of narrow down the range of play.
I'm not sure that he saw the core spinning there. It might, like, probe vision is huge. Oh, a Citadel. Interesting. Okay. Tyson is going to go for DT. So this is pretty important. If Bisu throws down a robo and an observer right away and doesn't send his obs across the map, he's going to be in a big advantage, and that's pretty standard. About as standard as standard gets to get this robo after the gateway, so he is going to go for that. Let's see what he does with this first observer and whether Tyson can thread the needle and maybe get in there for a little damage.
Now this matchup is very like rock, paper, scissory in these early stages especially, so yeah, we have to be very cautious in how we navigate this early game state. The fast robo does really make you pretty safe against everything, but not super optimal either. And it, like you say, it depends on what happens with these first initial observers as well. Maybe you send out your observer a little bit too prematurely and you don't quite account for it being a fast DT timing, and suddenly you're punished. But I have to imagine that Bisu's done enough preparedness that he won't just be caught off guard by the DT timing of Tyson here.
Yeah, there are some builds where you just go insanely fast into Reaver. You skip the observer.
Right.
But it looks like Bisu's added the observatory, so he's not going to make that blunder here. And so should have an observer in the front. You should be okay. Them Dragoons are going to push across the map now. And Tyson making those DTs back at home. He's going to try and maybe bust through with his early units, try to support those DTs getting up that ramp. But as long as Bisu plays safe, keeps this observer at home, he should be fine. I haven't seen an observer pop out just yet. Maybe he makes the Reaver first and then the observer, which gives Tyson a little bit of time, but I don't think he can get through here before the DT gets in. He's even pulling the probe to the front. If he saw the little blur there, he'll know ahead of time.
Right. If he's trying to be optimal, he may go shuttle observer into Reaver. He wanted to make the shuttle while the tech buildings were finishing up to kind of maximize production time. So sometimes he will still get this observer after the fact, but maybe not. Maybe it's shuttle, Reaver, then observer, which means these DTs will do even more damage.
Well, they have a chance to do damage. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Ooh, oh gosh. Yeah, it's
oh boy.
problematic.
Yeah,
oh boy.
the SDT goes right in. Uh-oh. Where are all the units for Bisu, by the way? Didn't he have a
on the
couple
map in
dragons?
the shuttle?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's not good at all. He's going to try and probe drill onto these cloaked units right now. Warp blades, though, obviously one-shotting these probes. This is problematic to say the least. So many probes are falling right now. This is, oh my gosh, he's more than 15 supply down right now. Reaver coming back. He's going to start target firing these DTs down with that observer popping out. But 7 kills on one of those DT, and the other had a plenty as well. So a good, like, 10 to 15 workers were killed there easily by those 2 DTs, and he's going to be slowing Bisu down by forcing him to chase this other DT around in the main base. He's going to build a spotter pylon at the top of his base, seeing the shuttle come in as well. Actually, the shuttle's getting diverted a little bit, but he does still see it. Oh, what's he doing? Why is he moving out with his army right now? What's Tyson doing? He knows there's a shuttle. Why is he moving out with his army? This is a huge blunder. Why is Tyson doing this? I do not know. It's just totally a miscalculation from him. He knows there's a shuttle to worry about. He knows that the Reaver will be on its way. He should have kept this army back at home to defend. He did pull most of the train of probes away. Hasn't lost a lot of them to the Reaver scabs. There's a big chunk of them, though. 5 or so kills extra on that Reaver now, making a total of 6. This is a little bit of compensation going Bisu's way. Still, though, Tyson favored in this game if he can get back to mining and not lose too many more.
Wow, I'm kind of speechless at Tyson's play. Oh my gosh, these probes coming back. If Bisu caught that, he could have just wiped that out. Those probes were headed into the next game, man. They were going way out there. I don't know where they were headed, but almost managed to find those with his Reaver. Doesn't pick those up, but he delayed a huge amount of mining time, and he killed a whole bunch of probes. So Bisu's still alive. He's still in this game, although it is still a rough position. He killed so many more with those Dark Templar.
It's definitely a Tyson favored game. He is 12 or 13 supply ahead, has so many more probes. So he's mainly even on army supply and just got like a 10 worker lead here. But Bisu does have splash damage in the way of these Reavers, so it's not like Tyson can just come in here and kill him either. So I think Tyson's best plan would be to get his own tech up and get a natural expansion. Bisu's going to be thinking about just turtling with these Reavers and getting his own expansion. Like, oh, this is a big mistake from Tyson. He should not come in like this. I don't know what he's doing right now. He's trying to give Bisu a lifeline in this game by giving him small advantages here and there in these trades. Losing 1 Dragoon is going to be problematic if he keeps making mistakes like this. He's ahead still, but he can't afford to keep making small blunders like this.
Both of these guys making multiple blunders this game, actually. Throughout this whole series, there's been a lot of wackiness. Something's in the air tonight, Xun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. Everybody went out on Sunday night, maybe, and had a few too many drinks. What's going on?
The Earth's core is spinning in the other direction or something, saying the geomagnetic field of the planet has shifted, and suddenly players need to realign the particles of their body with what's going on right now. And everyone's playing a little bit off, it seems, and not quite able to handle the electricity in the air.
Yeah, there's something going wrong here, and it's happening not just to one player, but it's happening to just about everybody today. So it's hard to explain it, but it's definitely a real phenomenon, and Bisu is also becoming a victim here. Ooh, this DT gonna slip by. Bisu, is he paying attention? No, he's focused on these Dragoons out on the map.
Oh, no.
And the DT just walks past the Observer and the Dragoon, which could have easily blocked the ramp, and just starts massacring these probes. Unbelievable. He's gonna get like 4, maybe 5 probe kills. 5?
Yeah.
Unreal. He just got so much damage.
That's really crazy. I mean, you don't get any notifications of the attack, obviously, as you guys know, once this one-hit kill. So Bisu did react pretty quickly there once they started dying, but that's still a lot of damage that he has to weather. No expansion still on the way for Tyson. He's throwing down additional gateways, getting up his own tech online to try and match Bisu. He's trying to avoid any major engagements because he knows that with the splash damage of those Reavers, his Dragoons are actually in trouble. Bisu that actually catches some of these Dragoons out on the map. He's trying to force a fight with some of them, and he's desperately trying to play keep away. Does take a ninja expansion in the very bottom right. That might be his one saving grace and just making sure he can close out this game. It's going to be very difficult for Bisu to get down there and deal with that base without putting himself out of position.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Bisu has this natural, and he's going to start to mine that now. Whereas Tyson, I mean, sending his probes all the way down to bottom right, it's a long train. Long probe train going a very long distance down to that fresh base. And if Bisu catches wind of that, he could just send one Reaver in a shuttle down to that base and completely mess with the plans. Looks like he won't spot it for now, though, and these Dragoons are going to catch on to this army here. Tries to get the Observer, not able to get it. Bisu tracking this down. Dragoons going around the army, making their way into the natural. Is there anything here to defend? 3 Dragoons is all he's got. Gonna take this fight here with the Reavers as well. Can Tyson do massive damage in the natural? A Reaver walking down the ramp, that should be enough to hold.
Yeah, he should be able to hold this still back at home. Maybe losing 1 or 2 probes, though. That might be a nice little pickup if he does kill 1 or 2 probes. Does manage to kill 1 of them at least before backing out. I don't know, man. Like, yes, like it did take a long time for those probes to get down there, an extra like 40 seconds or so, so that's a lost mining time of like 300 minerals, but I don't know if that's going to be enough compensation. But this is a great catch from Bisu, killing these Dragoons off here. That evens up the game very much so for Bisu now. There is now nowhere near as much of an edge for Tyson to leverage in this game. Before, there was a few tactical edges that Tyson could have used. Now he's lost that little pack of Dragoons. It's not the case anymore. There's just so much more splash available to Bisu that he's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable about this game. Tyson has to expand.
Well, yeah, he's going to come down here and take this natural. Bisu might be thrown off a little bit that like, you come over here and see the natural and go, wow, I'm in a great spot. This natural is so late, but you won't necessarily know about the base down in bottom right. I'm shocked that Tyson keeps all these Dragoons in the main base. Like, what are all these Dragoons doing here? Kind of crazy. He's waiting for this shuttle to come in.
Yeah. He's worried about this Reaver dive in here, but I don't know either. Like, he should maybe keep a few less goons there. The thing I'm worried about is this army out on the map for Tyson is not going to be able to help out in this defense hardly at all. And if he gets the cancel on this Nexus, that's going to be huge. He does dot out the Scarab actually to save that. Nice play there from Tyson, the body block with that Dragoon to save the Nexus at least. Taz taking a lot of damage onto that, so Bisu could swing by and try and finish that off later on with a few more Scarab connections. And this Dragoon pack is going to get caught in the top right. This is another big blunder from Tyson, just donating to Bisu's cause right now. Here's another pack of Dragoons you can kill at your leisure eventually.
Tyson still does have a overall lead in his supply, and he's starting to get some Templar out, which is the big advantage that he's going to have. It's going to counter the Reavers pretty well, and it's also going to give him more like late game potential than the Reavers will. So
yeah,
if he gets these Templars out to storm in this next fight, he could win that. He's just going to have a bit of a hard time here as Bisu shoves directly into his naturals. Bisu still has no idea about that base in bottom right, so he thinks as long as I kill this Nexus, I'm going to win this game. But Tyson's actually going to bring a bunch of forces. What the heck? A lot of pylons up here on the high ground. It's a little bit funny. Now he can't pull the Dragoons into that position and, you know, hold position them on that high ground and, you know, defend easier. It's kind of strange move from Tyson there, but anyway. Go on.
I think that's to deny Reavers from being laid down close to the cliff edge, and also to bug out the units with attack commands if they try and come up the ramp later on. But I don't know, a little bit of a weird choice from him either way. I'm not too sure though. Like, Tyson's doing a pretty good job out on the map. He somehow kills this shuttle. That'll be huge by keeping those Reavers dead in the water. But now Bisu sniffed out this base in the bottom right. How is he going to defend this? He's only got 4 Dragoons on the high ground. He's just going to sacrifice it and go for a full-on counter attack and try and do a kill move to Bisu right now. I don't know how much is back. Okay, 2 Reavers and like 8 or so Dragoons. Maybe, just maybe, Bisu can hold it in. There's a lot of speed lots, a lot of Dragoons, and some high Templar supports. I think just maybe there's a way of busting through. As the Reavers will do a lot though in helping against these Zealots. He needs to keep these Reavers alive desperately.
Oh no, he needed to hold back the Zealots and get the storms on these Reavers first. He lost like almost all the Zealots before the Templar could get their storm. Now the second storm's going to come out. Looks like that Reaver will die. And he is going to get quite a few probes here in the natural as well with one of those storms, but losing that extra base is so rough. And these Reavers are coming back. Can he actually shoot down that shuttle? Oh, the shuttle's super low. Can he actually get the other Reaver? Really close. He does get the shuttle. This other Reaver is going to save things, though, and this Archon really won't get much done. One more storm? Yeah, he does have it. Okay, one more storm there. We're dealing some extra damage. Can't get the Reaver, though. And this is kind of dead in the water now for Tyson. He's at 60
Yeah.
supplies, lost every probe down in the bottom right. Bisu's cleaned all of that up. Just a wacky game, honestly. This is a crazy counterattack from Tyson. I don't really know what we're looking at.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
Tyson's
strange.
he's definitely not comfortable in navigating these games right now. Maybe some nerves from not being used to these offline events. He's definitely been performing very well online recently, but the offline is just a totally different caliber of play and hard to keep your nerves in check when you're dealing with these kinds of calibers of play. On top of that as well, it does have quite a few zealots, but honestly, what's he going to really do? He's like almost 30 supply behind. How is he going to defend his natural? He needs a lot of Psionic Storms, but he can just storm dodge. He can just run his Dragoons back and forth here. There's not really a way of stopping this. I'm a little bit confused about Tyson's decision making this game. Seems like Bisu might be able to close this out. There is a DT here that'll make things a little bit annoying, but he has got an observer with his army still. I have to feel like this is going to be a Bisu victory. There's just no way of making up this deficit anymore, losing that base in the bottom right as well.
Yeah, this should go to Bisu, but can't call it just yet. Tyson is still alive. He's got his natural up. Bisu, he's shown much better understanding with his overall play in this game. His PvP seems stronger. Ooh, almost runs right into that shuttle there. And really, it feels like Tyson could have won again. Like, both of these games, versus Light and versus Bisu, it felt like he had a great position. And he's just kind of thrown it away. He's lost his advantage. Now he's going to be counterattacked over here. It's like, you didn't know that this army was going to come towards your natural, Tyson? Really? You thought he was just going to, you know, not counterattack you here? He could have trapped his army up on high ground, I guess, but this is a pretty logical attack. He's just going to come over here, bring the Reavers back to catch any units making their way towards this natural, and almost picks off a Templar before it can even get its storm. And it looks like he's going to have a clean finisher here. Not even close. Tyson going to get easily cleaned up in this last fight. And we are going to have Bisu move into that losers finals. A little bit of justice here for Bisu at the end. Clears out that cheeky DT play. I mean, look at him. He's not very happy about how any of these games have gone so far. Really, even though he won that one. Gosh, look at that shake of his head. He's like, man, that was a lost game right there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, basically, like, he almost just got knocked out in the round of 24 with some major blunders to speak of as well. That would have been devastating for Bisu to have to deal with. Now, though, we are going to be seeing that Killer versus Bisu match in the finals instead. I really wanted to see how that matchup was going to pan out. I'm so glad we're going to be seeing a final match between those two players. Yeah,
Bisu, I mean, he's going to need some redemption here. That's for sure. After forgetting Storm. He's got some things to make up for. He's got he's got to fix what's been the wrongs of the past, man. Killer,
he's got to do it.
He definitely should have lost that game, and Bisu, he just made a mistake. Look at him shaking his head again. He is not happy with the way he performed. I know a lot of you guys out there are disappointed. None of you are more disappointed in Bisu than he is of himself. I assure you that.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to be beating himself up a lot about these games. But he does have this chance of redemption. We have this final rematch between Bisu and Killer. He does need to have a stronger showing here and show that, okay, that was just a fluke, guys. I can play. Don't worry. I won't forget my storm. He needs to have a strong showing against Killer to make sure there's still this like aura about him in the round of 16 when he does make it through, and these other guys don't start thinking, oh, this guy is actually easy to deal with anymore. He still wants to have like a sense of gravitas. You know, he wants people to be afraid of him in their future matchups. He doesn't want people to think of him as a joke that forgot his storm.
Yeah, there's going to be people out there who are saying, oh, Bisu's washed up. Bisu's forgetting all of his stuff. If he brings out this next match and just crushes Killer, maybe some of those voices will be silenced potentially. But it's still a difficult pill to swallow here. Like, this guy, like we've talked about all night long, is an incredible PvC specialist, and he's been around for ages. I've almost never seen him play so sloppily in an ASL. It's incredible to see. The mistakes, the caliber of mistakes. I mean, it's rough, man. It is really rough. We all want to see, you know, Bisu and Jaedong and all the old legends just do super well, but sometimes it's not the case.
Yeah, this game is just so hard saying, like, playing at the absolute highest echelons of play, even if you do put in 8, 10, 12, 14 hours worth of practice a day, whatever it is, you're still going to have to execute when it comes down to it. It doesn't matter how much you prepare, how much you train. When it comes down to the actual day of playing, you've got to not only execute your builds, but keep calm, composed, and, like, you know, navigate the decision trees as well as possible. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. I mean, some of these guys, they look so good online and they're dominating in the qualifiers, and they show up to the actual offline event. The cameras are in their face, the crowd's there, the lights are on, and they just can't play at their A game. You know, they're kind of playing at like an 80% level or something, where they can't just kick it up into that final gear and turn themselves up to 11.
And I don't mean to give anybody any outs or, you know, apologize for anybody's bad play, but these guys are all becoming fathers now. They have a lot of responsibilities. They're not able to play, you know, 15 hours a day like they did when they were younger, like Speed can do now as a single guy. You know, you never know what happened the night before. If they were kept up all night by a baby screaming, it's possible, right? And so Bisu, he might have certain circumstances that are messing with him right now. I hope he can clear his head, though, and just play his absolute A game here for this last one, because he should be able to take down Killer. Based on the way Killer's playing today, I don't think that Killer should be able to take him down. Like, he really doesn't seem to be on Bisu's level when it comes to PvZ.
No. I mean, we did see Killer somehow take out Bisu, but most people can see that that's just because of the forgetting of that Sonic Storm. Maybe if that storm had been ready, there's no way he would have traded so well with those Hydralisk forces, and he maybe would have, like, stayed alive in that game. We'll have to wait and see what occurs in this final match and trying to figure out where these players are at. It is still possible that Killer might cause a crazy upset right now and knock Bisu out of the tournament. I mean, that's going to be insane if that transpires, but I have to think that's not going to happen. I really do hope that Bisu can find his mojo again and just stay on top of everything and not let a big blunder like that happen.
Killer was looking super dead in a lot of that game. Bisu was crushing. He killed that fourth base like 3 times. Killed the third. He took over the air. He crushed the air fights and removed most of the mutas from the map. And then when the dive came, did you see how fast the mutas died when they dove in on top of those Templar at that last fight?
Yeah, that's so quick.
It was like, yeah, it was like
two shot.
You know, when you take a whiteboard eraser and you just like erase your sentence, you know, just they were just gone within a split second.
Not only that, but they were wiping up and down to make sure there wasn't too much butt jiggling going on. It was really efficient cleaning of the board as well, you know.
Yeah, they just absolutely got smashed, and so he would have had 4, 5, 6, 7 storms for that fight, and just didn't have that spell ready in time. So I don't think we're going to see Bisu make that same mistake again. How crazy would that be, though? If he forgets Storm for a second time, we're going to have to check his keyboard, make sure it didn't break, you know, the button.
Yeah, seriously. I'm making sure there was no neutrinos smashing into the hardware of his... Oh, he even botched putting on his headphones. Wow. What is going on right now? Is he on something? Did you take some mushrooms or something? Did you pop an edible to calm your nerves and suddenly the beast is taming you, Bisu? What is going on in that booth right now? He is not comfortable.
It seems that way. It seems that he is not comfortable right now. But it really should be Killer with all the pressure on him, man. He is facing up against a legendary Protoss and a PvZ specialist, but I mean, Bisu, he looks shaken. He looks like, you know, he probably should have lost that second game. He probably should have lost versus Tyson. He knows that he got kind of thrown the game back towards his side. And now he's getting into this final match, guys. Can he pull it together? We want to see Bisu make it through, but having Killer in the round of 16, it wouldn't be bad either. Let's see what happens. This final game starting now. Cross map situation. Somebody in the chat was saying it would be great for Killer with the cross map. He's spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Bisu in the top left. And guys, right as we're starting this last game of the night, just want to give you another reminder to support the stream, to support the ASL English cast. We really love doing this, and we want to do it for a long time in the future, but we need your support. So yeah, give generously. Either to the stream through gems on Soup, or to the StarCastTV Patreon. And we do very much appreciate it, guys. We love this sport so much, and we want to see it grow and be here to cast it all for you. So thank you in advance. Now,
absolutely, guys.
Go ahead.
I'll go, absolutely, guys. We do need your help in keeping the lights on. We do love this game so much, but it does take a lot of time out of our weeks to keep bringing you guys these crazy games. And you guys supporting that and bringing that to fruition is so important, and making sure both StarCastTV and we can keep doing this for a very long time to come. And with these spawns, I mean, cross map, gateway first, Bisu's not going to be able to get as crisp of a timing with these zealots. So he's probably hoping for a close spawn location. The Radion is so long. It's like 38 seconds ramp to ramp from these cross spawns. It's a long distance.
It absolutely is. And, well, Killer has opened with a overpool for himself. He's not going to be blocked in this natural, which is a great start for him. Gonna hide that drone, but can bring it forward now to grab his natural. Just think about how much different this early game is from the last one, where he was blocked and pushed away and kind of thrown off his game by Bisu. Now we've got cross map. Bisu's gonna have a hard time harassing this, and Killer's just able to play his game. It's looking up for this Zerg player.
Right. And Bisu maybe will be feeling the pressure, knowing that now that he's got cross map, this gateway first isn't going to be as effective. And we have the Zealot opening of no drone scout, but full Ling initially to make sure he's safe against the first Zealot timing of Bisu. This is how a lot of Zergs have been trying to adapt to this matchup recently. Some Zergs just liking to not drone scout at all, and just getting an extra pair of Lings out to make sure you're safe, and then scouting delayed. Does help you prevent these probes from building pylons to block you as well. We'll be missing the Zealot coming across the map, though. Bisu did just kind of thread the needle across with that Zealot. So now might actually get some damage done in the main base, potentially, which could be huge.
Yeah, these Lings, look at how far spread out they are. They were hoping to catch a Zealot moving across, and now that he hasn't seen that, he's probably assuming that there's actually a forge being made. And so this might just be a full round of drones. This is some excellent damage here already, forcing the drones to just get off the line. Pretty good force of dancing here on the Zealot. Loses a drone already, though, and this is quite painful. He's not even spreading those drones just yet as well. It really messes up your mining a lot if you send all your drones to one patch. It takes a long time for them to spread out and start mining efficiently again. It's why we see at the beginning of the game players split their drones so accurately and so specifically onto these different patches. So Killer, he's taken a big hit on his overall economy here.
Yeah, each drone is worth basically 50 minerals a minute in terms of their optimized mining time. Some patches are better than others, depending on boosting, but still a big deal. Any downtime on those drones mining is a really big hit to Killer's economy in these early stages. Will make it harder for him to power drone, throw down macro hatcheries, and get a crazy mid-game going, which is exactly what Bisu wants. In this matchup, your weakest point is this early game, so if you can somehow get a little bit of an edge before getting into that mid-game transition, you're going to be feeling a lot more comfortable as Bisu.
I think he went for a layer in the main. I'm a little bit worried for Killer. I don't think this layer is going to line up too well. Yeah, this is going to be pretty late, guys. Yeah, the early damage there from the Zealot coming in and just throwing off the mining has thrown off this layer timing so much to where Bisu, he might get a bunch of kills with these Corsairs, and then it gets really scary for Killer. I wonder if he's going to go with the layer, but then get a Hydra Den as well. That's a situational thing that you can just defend the Corsairs with Hydras instead of with the Scourge.
Yeah, he could have just thrown down a 4th hatchery to macro as well as a Hydra Den and just use that lair for, you know, Overlord speed and maybe get a delayed Spire to have some air control. Oh no, this is problematic. He's going to lose another drone at the 3rd base as well as some lost mining time. Does kill the scouting probe, but now these Zealots are going to be denying some mining. Does have some Zerglings popping out, so we'll be able to clean this up eventually, but not very efficiently when they're sitting behind the minerals like this. This is going really Bisu's way initially. Hopefully, we can see some recovery from Killer to make a really strong game of it, but this trade is definitely going very, very Bisu-sided thus far.
Absolutely, dude. If Bisu finds a way to throw this game, I'm not sure what I can say. Like,
oh my
it's
gosh.
crazy. 1 HP on that K will take it out with the drone. Killer, he's got to be feeling really a lot of pressure, a lot of frustration at this point. He knows that things have gone bad, and he knows that they're just going to get worse here as Bisu starts to ramp up that overall aggression, throwing in the Zealots and the Corsairs. So you know he's not going to give you a moment of rest here. He's just going to keep pushing the issue, keep forcing it down your throat, and really Killer, he's going to start to choke.
Right. I mean, he is basically doing what we thought he should do. He's getting that 4th. That's a pretty nice catch on that Zealot, stopping him from getting behind the minerals. But he is going to be doing that sort of 4-hatch Hydra opening and now start throwing down additional macro hatcheries. 5th hatchery, I think, went down at the 3rd base. So we'll be slightly stabilizing the game state. If he loses his Overlord, it would be really annoying. Bisu is actually taking a lot of damage onto this Corsair without killing the Overlord, which is actually a bit problematic. He's going to probably finish off this other one, though. Okay, it's a nice pick for Bisu if he gets that, but so far Killer's doing a good job of staying unsupply blocked most of the time. This can escalate so quickly though. With the Zealots starting to come across the map, you've now got to juggle, how do I defend both the Zealots and the Corsairs trying to pick away at my Overlords? It's kind of like a bishop like pinning your knight down in chess. It becomes a little bit problematic if the Protoss can keep your units pinned down at certain bases.
Well, I'm not sure. He needs to make a group of Hydras, but it really hurts to make a bunch of Hydras right now when you're really supposed to be droning. Yeah. He needs like 2 control groups of Hydras to really survive well here, but also slip out drones at the same time while getting supply blocked by these Corsairs. It's just such a tough tightrope. Oh my god, a second Templar Archives? Hold up. That's another sign that Bisu is having some nerves, man. Maybe he really wanted to make sure he didn't miss out on that storm.
Did you see how much Bisu's camera was jiggling? That means he's being very aggressive with his hand movements on the keyboard and mouse. Like he's angry, like he's playing with frustration, and he's like overcompensating by playing, by moving his arms around much more aggressively. This is not good for Bisu. He's looking a little bit shaky. He did manage to cancel it though, so he's got some of those resources back, but it is definitely a sign of the times. He needs to stay calculated and calm right now. I don't know what is going on in this man's head, but he is definitely a little bit flustered and riled here.
Absolutely flustered, man. Things have just not gone his way. He knows that everybody is watching. Everybody in Brood War, all his friends, all his practice partners, everybody is going to have to, you know, get on a Discord call with tomorrow or the next day and play, you know, Pro League with. They're going to be talking about these games and how he's going to mess this up. Now, he's going to dive in with these Zealots. A bunch of Hydras are coming over from the left-hand side, and there's no Corsairs here to actually kill this Overlord. So the Overlord is going to live for now, and Overlord speed is also done. He can gun down this DT. DT does pull back. Kind of uncharacteristic play here from Bisu, not combining the Corsair attack with the DTs and Zealots. He doesn't really get much out of that, killing a few drones and slowing down Killer a little bit more, but I feel like he could have gotten a little bit better of a trade overall if he had pulled those things together.
I mean, that Sim City's pretty tight from Killer, but it's not the tightest. There are a few holes to exploit. I thought the trades were going to go a little bit better for Bisu, but did lose quite a lot of those Zealots, which takes the potency out of this Zealot Templar force, making it easier to gain map control as Killer now. Bisu will not be able to just secure his third base off of 6 gateways anymore. He might have to power up into at least 8 gateways worth of production before he can even think about taking that third base, which is problematic.
I'm so curious to see actually the Tastosis cast and translation of how Bisu was feeling before this match. Maybe there was something going on with him. You know, maybe he got some bad news or something happened to him before this cast. I would really feel bad for him if that was the case, but you know, if he was going into this fully confident that he's going to pass through and nothing wrong, I would be super shocked.
Well, he looked pretty calm and chill in that interview, so I don't know what's going on. I'm definitely going to be checking out the interview as well with the translation to figure out exactly what's going on. They definitely should give that translator a pay raise, by the way. That translator is doing a phenomenal job right now, definitely carrying that cast, because knowing exactly what these guys are saying and thinking and feeling, oh my gosh, that's such good information to work with. Definitely check that out, guys. That translator does a fantastic job over on that other stream. Look at Killer, though. He's looking pretty good in this game. He's spending all his money really well as well. Like, everything is kind of looking pretty crisp for him. He didn't have such a good early game, but now he's looking okay. It looks like Bisu is going to try and secure a relatively fast third base here. I'm not sure if Killer will want to force the issue and punish this. He does scout it with a Zergling, so now he has full information on what he wants to do. Do I want to just power up into a Hive right away? Or do I want to go and punish this? He has a small Hydra force moving out to meet with this. Maybe cancel some of these cannons or delay the Nexus going up is also possible.
Well, with all these mutas, I think he's going to try and stop this third. Like, it doesn't really make sense to power up into a Hive when you've got 10 to 12 mutas just sitting here in your natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 12 mutas. That's a bit of a mistake. You kind of really only want 11, but gonna leave one back at home, I guess, when he goes across and tries to get this micro going. He has a fourth base in mind, but he's dumping all of his money into Hydras so that he can put together a really strong force to try and wipe out these Templars and take over with Hydras. Now, let's see if he can bust this third. If he doesn't bust the third, the game goes on, and I think Killer's going to be in an even worse position. If he does bust the third, then Bisu is going to start to struggle. It's not over, but he is going to be in a tough spot. And retaking that third after losing it once, he's going to be close to mining out by that point. And so he'll be in a lot of trouble. 2 Templar over here at the Templar Archives. I'm not sure what those are all about, but he should see it. Maybe they're there for the storms if the mutas fly into the natural.
But he has no Dark Archon, so it's a little bit strange that he's doing that. Because the mutas could just sit on top of the mineral line. You can't really storm your own mineral line. It doesn't feel so good. So it's a little bit strange how Bisu's playing right now. Maybe definitely a little bit shaky and not so confident in how he should exactly approach this game state. The fact that we don't see a Dark Archon as well is very telling. I'm not sure if he understands exactly what might be happening in a few moments here, but he has a lot of Dragoons at least. He has like 2 control groups of Dragoons, which is like the maximum number you want to go up to as Protoss here. So he has enough to escort these High Templars around against the Hydras, but not against the mutas. So he needs to rely on these 5 Corsairs to stop somehow these massive pack of mutas from dive bombing him. I'm not so sure that's going to be enough. He's going to dive in these mutas now and see if he can get some jobs. So he forces the storm in the natural expansion. Now he's going to dive on top of the army. There's only 2 High Templars. He's going to sight both of those. Oh no, he gets 1 storm that he dodges. This is problematic for Bisu. He needs to get his High Templars down here now. They are coming from the natural expansion. There's only 2 High Templars to support against so many Hydras right now, Saiyan.
Oh my goodness, this is straight up Hydra versus Dragoon, and even more Hydras are making their way forward. There was a storm there. He might have 1 more, but so many Dragoons are dying here, dude. He is completely getting overwhelmed. Bisu just did not have the right counter to this Mutalist play. He had some Corsairs, but it just wasn't enough splash to get rid of those and to bodyguard all of those High Templar, and Killer is doing it again, dude. Killer is moments away from making his way into the round of 16. A pretty good storm comes out there. The Hydras are very low in number, and he's pulling together a few more units here. Can Bisu survive just on his mechanics alone, just on his rallies, keep himself in this game? It looks like he might just barely live here, but Killer is still pushing forward, and if he makes another round of mutas, he can definitely snipe those Templar again.
He's only got 1 or 2 storms available to him, though. With some good storm dodging, he can still make this work. Has to be so careful, does Bisu. If Killer had storm dodged a little bit better at that third base location, he probably would have gotten more probe kills as well. Just barely managed to weather the storm, did Bisu. Hopefully, somehow he can stabilize this game state from now. Killer is also desperate to find some game-ending damage. He killed the army of Bisu, but he doesn't have a 4th base, doesn't have the hive finished up, so he needs to actually get something done here. He was committed to killing this 3rd base instead of teching up. Does find this Dark Temper out on the map, which is pretty huge. Now Bisu's just going to be in full-on defensive mode. This is like defensive ire right now. Can he somehow hang on? Because honestly, he's doing a pretty good job. He's got 2-1 upgrades. I've got +1 on these mutas. He needs to get another High Templar dive bomb to make this work. He did also snipe the majority of those Corsairs, which cannot be replaced. He cannot afford to throw gas into Corsairs right now. So what you see is what you get. He has got 1 Archon to help act as point defense. Maybe, just maybe, he can stop those mutas from diving on top of those High Templars. But if he does somehow kill like 2 or 3 of these Templars before the fight starts, I think Killer can still make it work.
Yeah, Killer, if he gets all the Templar here, he is going to walk over this army. It hasn't been replenished to the same level as it was before, right? He's lost a ton of Dragoons in that last fight. He's replaced some of that, and he's got some Zealots here. Here comes that dive, going for the Templar. He's avoided the Archons, but these storms are really good. Very good storms there, kind of negating the mutas as they were coming in. Now some storms go down on these Hydras. A great storm on the top part of these Hydras. He doesn't really have much more. I think he's got maybe 1 more storm. There it is. And I think it's enough. He's going to be able to hold back Killer. Really good preemptive storm there from Bisu and holds back everything. Killer cannot crush this army, and he will be leaving this game soon, man. Bisu has done it.
Oh, this is crazy. He was so close to finishing off Bisu in this game. He barely hung on by a thread, which isn't going to be doing much for Bisu's self-esteem going forward. Even if he does win this game, he's not going to be feeling too good about it, but it's at least better than being knocked out by Killer right now. So this is some compensation for Bisu, but it does look like, even though Killer's trying his hardest to micro against this army, pick off some Dragoons here and there and micro back, he should be able to get this game closed out. Yeah, there's the how GG is finally called, and Bisu will be making it through to the round of 24 by God's grace. Look at him struggling to contemplate what is even happening in his group stage today. And we see Baxter, Killer, slumping in his chair, knowing he came so close, but so far from securing his own position in that round of 16.
There it is, guys. A bit of lethargy for all of you ladder players out there. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody falls apart sometimes when it comes to this game. Nobody is perfect, even at the very highest level. Yeah, catharsis, sorry. Catharsis for you ladder players out there, knowing that, you know, everybody's kind of bad sometimes. It is what it is. Everybody makes mistakes. This was... This was a crazy game, honestly. Killer had the right idea. He had a pretty good execution, but it just wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite good enough to bust through everything. Look at all these snipes on the Templar here at the natural. He just comes in, kills basically every Templar, and then overwhelms with Hydra. That is the game plan. Oh my gosh, what is this? What am I looking at, Xun? Holy crap. That is some crazy storms from Bisu there to try and prevent the mutas from getting on top of those. But at least he managed to save a couple of these, and that couple of storms actually saved his life in this game. Because if he got overwhelmed and he lost that third base, this game would have been near over. He just barely hangs on with that 1 or 2 storms and keeps himself alive. I really expected him to go for another round of mutas, and it looks like Bisu did as well. Getting prepared for that, and especially having those Templar in a good position when the mutas are coming in is so important.
Yeah, this is about as like close as it can get, really. Like, look at this storm. This not this storm here, but this next storm. That's the
Oof.
one that really seals the deal for Killer. Not able to really be efficient in killing off those cannons and doing damage to the probes. If he at least killed that entire probe line before this army came in to clear up, maybe there was still a fighting chance for him. Even then, though, I don't think it's good. He needs to still trade well. There was just barely enough gas in the tank for Bisu to get past that finish line. And he will be joining us in that round of 16, but certainly not feeling like a strong contender right now. I doubt Bisu's going to be going all the way into that round of 4. I imagine he will have a hard time just getting into the round of 8 at this rate.
Yeah, he's got a lot to work on for sure. I'm sure, he's not feeling that confident. Maybe needs to go back to the drawing board. Look at the look on his face right now. You can just tell from his visage right now that he's not feeling too happy with his performance and might be apologizing to the fans here in this upcoming interview.
Yeah, I think that definitely that he's not going to be feeling hot about this. I really do want to figure out exactly what's going on in his mind in the interview with the translation. I'll be checking that out at the first notice. Really kind of crazy to see a player of his caliber a little bit shaky like that. I hope he can bring it together and figure out what's going wrong in either his mindset or his play in the coming phases of the tournament. He's only got a few weeks to do that until that round of 16 is live, and he needs to be playing his A game. Every single person that round of 16 will pretty much deserve to be there and be playing out of their mind. So if he wants any hope of staying alive in this tournament, especially going into that round of 8, he's going to have to dig deep here and figure out all the tiny little nitty-gritty problems, both mental and physical, that he may be having to deal with.
Look at all the fans waiting for a signature from Bisu. Still has a loyal crowd of people who love this guy and have watched him for years and years. And it's still amazing to have him in this tournament. I just would love to know what exactly was going on with this guy. Yeah, you can kind of see it in his eyes. He's definitely not satisfied with the way that things have gone.
He seems emotional. He's almost like he's trying to not cry at the moment. Like maybe there is something going on behind the scenes that's really hurt his mental game. Like I don't want to assume, but there is possible something crazy has happened, that he's had some bad news or he's had to deal with some trauma or something that's really cost him in terms of his ability to stay calm. But maybe not. Maybe it's just a bad day or something. We'll have to wait and see how that interview is actually turning out and how he performs in the next phase of the event in that round of 16. Honestly, though, I feel like Killer would have more haters than fans if he somehow knocked out Bisu. And there'd be a lot of angry Bisu fans just like grabbing their pitchforks and torches. How dare you take out our beloved Bisu?
That's definitely true. There's a ton of hardcore Bisu fans out there. I'm sure that the audience was absolutely packed with them tonight, hoping that he would be making it through. And he has advanced here. Regardless of how he advanced, he did advance. And so tomorrow is a new day. There's still a couple of weeks here. Next week, we will not be having any ASL. It'll be the group selection stage. And so the round of 16 will go after that. And so depending on which group he ends up in, he could have, up to 3 weeks to prepare for his next match, which is plenty of time to get his head straight and get back into his higher form. He's got the right practice partners, and I'm sure he's got plenty of people willing to practice with him. I'm sure he could make that happen.
Yeah, I hope so. Whatever it is that's ailing him, I hope he can get that under wraps and actually perform his best in that next phase. He's, like you say, got plenty of time to get his head together and make that a reality. Would love to see him have a strong showing in that round of 16. He's such a good, talented player. It would be a shame for him to be considered this washed up guy that's not able to perform. Like, he isn't that. He is a very strong player. It's just he's had a little bit of a shaky performance in this group, and hopefully he can get rid of those nerves and the poor performance in that coming stage. Super excited to see more from this guy. It's a little bit of a shame that Killer didn't cause an upset, because that would have been also kind of crazy to talk about, that somehow Killer's knocking out the likes of Bisu. No one would have thought that was going to be transpiring. He was so close as well with that attack. I mean, he had only 10 army supply less than Bisu during the initial engagement with those mutas as well. Had a very strong macro behind that force to try and get the job done. Wasn't able to, though, just barely hanging on by a thread was Bisu. Clutching out that game by the skin of his teeth, quite literally. Just a few extra units waiting reserve. We see finally some smiles and laughter from Bisu. I'm so happy to see that there is still hope for himself here. He does still need to congratulate himself for getting through such a bad performance. Like, it would have been terrible if he got knocked out by Killer there. I don't think he would have ever been able to forgive himself.
Well, Killer, I mean, he's going to go home a little bit disappointed. He didn't make it through. Didn't beat Bisu, but he gave him a really good run for his money. Tyson, on the other hand, I think he's really going to go home with a bit of a sad feeling here after this ASL. Really didn't perform at, I think, the level he's capable of. He took out JYJ in the qualifier. He put up so many good games in KCM and in other tournaments, but it seemed like he really couldn't show up here today in ASL.
Yeah, it really did seem that way. It's unfortunate though. It was pretty fun games though, and some potential upsets to keep us on the edge of our seat, not knowing what's actually going to happen. Happy to see Bisu finally get a little bit of redemption there in that final match. I'm so excited to see you guys tomorrow for Group E. We've got pretty much like crazy groups now, because it's going to be actually some good Zerg players showing up for a change. We've got the likes of Zero as Queen, Jaedong in Group E against Stork and Ski, and then we've got Hero in action alongside Sark and Hero, that's YSC, going into Group F. There's going to be some crazy groups, and I have to imagine that at least 2 of those Zergs are going to be making it through, most likely 3 actually. I'd be surprised if it wasn't 3 or 4. Like, all 4 of those guys are absolute monsters in their playing Zerg. Jaedong may be the only questionable guy there. Can he somehow perform and break through? He has been playing pretty good lately, but he's definitely not in the same kind of shape as the like of Hero in action.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I think he stands a pretty good chance of making it through. Yeah. I don't know how I rate SK, but Stork has been doing well as well. You know, he's been performing at a pretty high level. There's a chance he gets through. It's not his best matchup versus Zerg. Right. He struggles. He can pull out some pretty smart stuff, but I think he has a much better chance against Terrans. If he had a good Terran group, I would give him a better shot. I think I'm going to predict Queen and Jaedong make it through in the end. Although SK, he might come out of nowhere and give us a big upset here.
He might. I mean, it is April Fool's. It is April Fool's, Saiyan. So we might be seeing some absolute madness. Who knows? Like, just when you think, oh yeah, Zero and Jaedong, they're going to get through. Suddenly, nope. Actually, somehow Ski is going to be taking his way to the finals match and somehow clutching out. Who knows what will happen in the ASL? As you can see from today's group, nothing's really set in stone. Anything is possible. But guys, I've been Xun, and with me Saiyan, and we've had a great time bringing you the action today at ASL. Please do tune in tomorrow as well for that Group E with Zero, Jaedong, Stork, and SK. And also, please do support us on the Patreon. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for showing up, everybody in the chat, everybody on YouTube as well. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.